evening, chat. Hello. Sorry about that. You know how it is with live TV. Welcome to the Thursday night show. I am potentially criminal, also known as Sean. I'm an attorney in the Cleveland, Ohio area, and tonight we got a lot to talk about. Oh, it's coming to the wrong mic. Oh, hold on. Why does it do this? Default microphone. Yeah, I didn't switch it, so I don't know why it did it on me. Here we go. All right, that should be better. Here we go. I don't know why it does that. What's wrong with you? Ketchup? No, I don't know what happened. But it's fixed. That should be taking care of it. All right, yeah. I ain't mess with the mic, so there we go. Anyways, welcome to the Thursday night show. We got a lot to talk about. A lot of funny stuff, a couple of serious things, but generally this one's kind of funny. It's all people, hey, you're like, it's not me, so it's all hilarious. Before we get started, I think, hey, hold on. Where you going? Come here. Come here, Papa. Ah. Yes! Why are you all wet? Did it rain outside? Oh, it did. That's why. He's a rainy dog. Clyde is here tonight with this chat, so hello, everybody. We are live tonight everywhere. We are live tonight on Rumble. We're live tonight on Twitter, YouTube, and last but not least, chat locals. If you guys are new, potentiallycriminal.locals.com. Locals is basically everything we wanted Patreon to be, but wasn't, and allows us to have a lot of fun over there. There aren't any rules. You don't have to worry about them getting mad about what your opinions are. You can have opinions on anything, and they leave you alone. Even if you're a dirty commie, they leave you alone. But over there, chat, you could join. It costs you nothing to be part of the community. You could post on the wall. I post on the wall. If you want to take a leak on the wall, I guess you could do that too if you really want. It's going to be awkward because it's going to be your monitor, but all right, maybe you're into that. And if you guys wish to support me, you could do so at $3 a month. You pay for 10 months, you get 2 months free. And with that $3 a month, you get access to the live shows. We do 2 live shows a week. Monday nights starting at 8:30 or 9-ish o'clock. And then Thursday nights right after this. So, as R. Kelly said, after the show, it's the after party. And unlike that, we don't go to the hotel lobby afterwards. But we do hang out. It's a fun time. There's stuff, obviously, you can't say you're doing on YouTube. There's things where we could just relax. Can you get to let your hair down? Kind of like Clyde. Put your ears down. Get to relax and have a fun time. We do it over there. Mr. Medicare goes live. We stream snipe him. We watch Formula One together. It's all sorts of fun stuff. Join us over there at potentiallycriminal.locals.com. Use the promo code WHIPIT. Yes, that's right, chat. WHIPIT. For 1 month free access. Yes, I've got 13 locals to make up for May, so we're going to work on that, chat. Don't worry. That's a joke. You're there. Yes, and we have the Bahrain Grand Prix this weekend. Should be a lot of fun. I don't know, guys. I mean, last week's was kind of fun because there were no safety cars and it was just pure racing, but it did suck that, Verstappen got up front and kind of just ran the show, and then Ferrari kind of just sucked. But I will say McLaren did a great showing, and that gives me some hope this season's not an absolute dumpster fire. So, all right, buddy, I'm going to have to set you down if there's anything else you want to say. Is there anything, huh? Besides more treats, fat man? All right, Bubby, I'm going to set you down. I'm going to set you down, buddy. All right. Clyde, come on. Don't fight. Oh, I got to grab the mail. We have mail to go through this week. Hold on, chat. 1 second. Okay, chat. So 2.0 screen these for me, so they're not bombs. I know that much. Hold on here. Okay, where can I put all that? I'll just hold these. Okay. So the first one I opened, this didn't come with a note. Somebody sent in snake deterrent. No note. I don't know who it's from. So thank you. Thank you. All right. So this big one, I don't know what it is. So let's see what this is. This is more stuff that came through Amazon. I don't know if there's a note. I think 2.0 said there's no notes, but let's see. Okay, hold on. Are wear it on my head while we're doing this. All right. So this is the mail hat, chat. We're wearing the mail hat. All right. So a tactical harness. Oh, is Clyde now tactical? Here we go. A tactical harness. Oh, Joe Dolio, if you're out there, you're going to love this. It's in Marpat. There we go. Marpat Woodland. All right. I think, will this shrink down for him? I hope so. Clyde's like, I think you guys saw Clyde when he got his fur, and it's like he's not as fat as he looks. So let's see here. Oh, he even got to name tapes, best friend. Oh, there we go. We're gonna have to put this on him and try it out. Oh, we're gonna do this. Whoever, guys, you didn't leave a note. I can't tell you thank you, but whoever did this, thank you. Clyde is gonna be tactical now. This is gonna be great. Yes, the instructions for the harness. Okay, step 1, adjust the straps. Step 2, put it on. Step 3, position it. Step 4, tighten it. I mean, that's pretty straightforward, but we can do this. We can do this. All right. All right, here we go. This will be fun. This will be fun. Does it have a can of tactical beans? No, it does not. You know what? This doesn't go in the bag. I'm just going to put it right here. We'll figure it out in a minute. Okay. So the rest of this stuff. I won't wear the white Amazon envelope like that. I don't have one that big. I have a big head. We'll try it in a second. The second one is Amazon. All right. Okay, well, there we go. This is chain. A choker chain? Okay, this looks like a choker chain made in gold. So I guess Clyde's gonna get his inner Italian on. Whoever got this, thank you. We'll put it on Clyde while he's wearing his collar or his tactical harness. So yeah, step 4 is a dildo, yes. We'll try this though. All right. Okay, so next thing up. All right, so this came in last week. Like I said, I picked everything up and I was waiting. I think I'm going to start doing mail on the Thursday nights, guys. It's kind of a good intro. Instead of just talking, it's a good introduction time. So there is... Okay. Will this fit on my head? I don't know if this will fit. Yeah, see? It's not going to fit, chat. It don't fit. So I can't do it. No note in this one. So once again, chat, I need you to give me notes. And we're going to open the window up here just a crack. There we go. All right. So what is this? This is dog bone pheasant scent. Okay. I know what this is. You spray it on a retriever dummy and, yeah, lets them work on getting accustomed to the scent, but also I can place it in locations and they can, Clyde can go run around looking for pheasants. I'm not sure how he'd be able to carry one. They're like as big as he is sometimes. In size, not weight, but whoever got this, thank you. Thank you. We'll try this. We'll see if we can get it. We'll see if we can get the taste of if we can get the scent of pheasant to go after it. And we got another one here, last one. And guys, if you want to send stuff, the P.O. box is down below to send stuff here. Also, Nico says we're live on Rumble and Rumble's working good. There we go. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. And just another, yeah, still nothing. Guys, you don't leave notes. I can't say thank you. I mean, I could say thank you, but I can't tell you thank you very much. Trump one says, how many pheasants do they have to squeeze in that to fill the bottle? I don't know. I don't know. Just some gal says, why do you have a hat? Because people sent me stuff from Amazon today. So, I put it on my head. It just works. It just works. It just works. It's just got here. Is it finally Harry Potter Day? No. Harry Potter Day is going to involve me going like this halfway through it. Glockicus, Slockicus. Hella says, I'm being posted. Well, actually, you could say I'm going postal. That would actually be more apropos for me. But yes. Because here in America, going postal means you're going to go in like postal workers were walking into the post offices and gunning down their employees back in the 80s. So, all right. So here's the second one. It's the same thing. It's duck scent, which I don't know if Clyde could swim. So I think it'd be funny, though, because, when you're sitting, it's been a little while. I know before you start commenting, it's been a little while since I've sat on a John boat shooting ducks. But yes, me right now on a John boat, that boat's going to be like, it's going to look like the Titanic bending in half. But when I was skinnier and when I was a young man, sitting on a John boat hunting ducks, having a lab jump off the boat into the water, or even like a decent size, other dog, other bird dogs can cause the boat to tip. So the one good thing with Clyde is when he jumps off the boat, he wouldn't tip the boat over. I don't know if Clyde can swim or he's a big water dog. Like I also mean you could have him like out in the, a marsh and you're sitting in a ground blind somewhere, but I'm gonna have to figure that out. So yeah, but we'll try this out. We'll see if he has an affinity for the birds. We'll see this. You thought I said cuck scent for a minute. No, but we are getting some cuck stuff in a second. All right. Okay. So we are all God, you keep messing with my hair. Oh, yeah. Save this, you guys can clip it. Here, hold on. There we go. Either I was throwing my hair or I was trying to bite my ear. I don't know. You be the judge. Chat. Could be both. Oh, the sorting hat says Sean is slaying. Oh, is that the thing in Harry Potter where it talks to him? Oh, God damn it. You guys are using this shit against me. Not fair, chat. Not fair. Yes, the Odoricata. Yes. Yes. The Odoricata, the Jamaica, the Caribbean edition. All right, chat. It is time to get going. We got a whole team of people in here. Whips his hair back and forth. Yes. Sandy says, been a minute. Love you. Well, thank you for being here. I'm glad you're here. Stacy says, am I Hufflepuff? I don't know any of the names of, that's the only one I know. But I thought it was like Powerpuff. Like there's Powerpuff and then there's the snake one. And I think that's isn't that Alan Rickman's thing too? Because he's like Sneaky Snake or something. And then he gets killed like Harry Potter. And Harry Potter, do they reenact the whole thing? He's up in the castle and Harry Potter points the wand at him and shoots him off the building. Because that would have been hilarious and the kids would never have gotten the jokes. But I don't know. Yes, I am a huff and puff. Yes, because stairs make me huff and puff. Yes. Oh, it's Slytherin. Okay. Yes. House Rider Truck. That would be great. Oh, it's Grapple Dork. Okay. All right. Okay. So it is Yeah, hold on one second. Yes. On are you texting it to me? All right, hold on, chat. Oh my god. All right, so my producer's sending me something apparently people want me to see here. Uh I mean, it's pretty accurate. Uh yeah, I know. I'm not putting that one up. That's maybe in a second. Maybe in a second. Send it to me. All right. What? Well, why don't they just put it up in the locals chat? I'd see it then. Okay. All right, chat. All right. Am I looking at comments? Yes, I am. Is 2.0 filling me with Harry Potter stuff? Yes, hold on. You've read Harry Potter, right? Oh, okay. No, she is not. She's no, she did not read Harry Potter. I thought she did. All right, chat. So let's get started with the main event. We're not holding back, chat. We are gonna blow our load tonight. We're just getting it done. We're skipping the foreplay. We're getting straight to it. The Steel Toe Morning Show. Arron Imholte, aka Arron Imholte, depending on who you ask, was facing charges of basically revenge pornography and non-consensual dissemination of sexual images, nudes. And those nudes were of Nick Rekieta's wife. And if you guys remember Nick Rekieta from Rekieta Law, small law firm in central Minnesota. Hold on, what? Okay, thank you. She 2.0 wanted me to correct and say just one. Anyways, he was accused of that, of setting them of Nick Rekieta's wife, Kayla. And this all stemmed about because of the result of Nick and Kayla, and then Arron and his wife, April, doing a big old swinger polycule thing where they, got it on. They got to fucking suck and do a lot of cocaine. So much cocaine that the police ended up raiding the house. And the county took the Rekieta children away because it was apparently a Haitian refugee camp inside. That's where everything happened. If you guys are aware, Nick Rekieta pled out to felony cocaine possession and somehow was able to throw himself on the sword rather valiantly. And it's something I didn't expect him to do. But hey, you know what? It's like those war movies where the cowardly guy does something like courageous all of a sudden, threw himself on the grenade and took the blast for April and Kayla. Now, you might wonder, why wasn't Arron involved? Well, at some point, the three of them looked around and said, wow, it's probably a lot more fun if Arron isn't here, and we'd have a lot more cocaine for ourselves. So they told Arron, leave, and Arron said, that's fine, I quit anyway. And he's like, I didn't want to be part of this no more. Depends who you ask. And he didn't get caught up in the police raid. But Arron did get caught up in the allegations that he disseminated a nude picture of Kayla without her consent. Well, he was facing felony charges because in Minnesota, that is a felony. Well, as the case started going along, I'm pretty sure I said at some point, I'm like, I don't think they're going to get the felony because the felony is meant to be for harassment and causing problems with people. And I don't think that was the case. Arron was trying to brag about it. As he told Gino when he sent it, your boy didn't do too bad, did he? Well, except for committing a felony, yes, he did. It wasn't too bad except for the felony part. Well, that case has reached part of a conclusion today. You guys are like, this is the most accurate retelling. Well, I mean, remember, there are stories that, one day Nick will tell us, but there's also stories he doesn't have permission to tell. I'm not really sure what that means, but whatever. Anyway, Arron did enter a plea today. There was a plea deal for Arron, and we're going to get to it now. Now, I did want to get on the show here tonight and tell you guys Arron had called me from the jail. I was his only phone call. He's like, Sean, the Somali bulls are back there. I can hear them banging on the bars. Help me. Put money on my commissary. But Arron decided to go on Kevin Brennan's show, so that kind of ruined the idea that Arron was in jail. but I was hoping to do that, and I thought it would be hilarious. So let's see what happened to Arron. It's pretty basic, but we're just going to go through it, chat, because we need to go through it together. We can law-splain this, and we can law-splain this via the interwebs. It's almost like I could use it as a saying. I'll have to see some. I don't think anybody else has ever used that before. So anyways, it's a petition to enter a plea of guilty in a felony, which obviously felonies are bad, chat. That's the bad thing. Or a gross misdemeanor, which isn't good, but it's a lot less bad than a felony. And with the gross misdemeanor, you face up to 1 year in jail. This was filed today, April 10th, 2035. See, chat, that's how good Arron is. Arron's cucking his way into the future. That's how good he is. The Steel Toe Time Travel Show is what we're dealing with. So you have Arron Imholte, and he says, I'm a defendant in the above entitled action. I do respectfully represent and state as follows. My full name is Arron Imholte. I am 38 years old. My date of birth is 12/24/86. The last grade I went through in school is 2 years of college. Now, why do they go through all of this? Well, they're going through this to establish that Arron is an adult, that he's over the age of 18, that he can establish his age and he can tell you his birthday, because that's how you establish he's competent at this point, that he's been through 2 years of college. And what does that show? Well, that shows that he is fluent in the English language. He has some level of reading comprehension. And that is critical because theoretically on a plea, he could raise things like, I'm so retarded, I don't know what day it is. I don't know my birthday. I'm illiterate. Any number of things, which, he might, when he has to, any number of things that might happen out there, he could try to raise. These prevent that from happening. He says, if filed on my case, and that means sometimes it might not be filed if he's pleading out right away and there's an agreement to things, I have received, read, and discussed a copy of the complaint. I understand the charges that have been made against me in this case. And this is specifically, I've been charged with the crimes of non-consensual dissemination of private sexual images, a felony. And they also got charged with the gross misdemeanor version. So yeah, some of you are saying, is this kind of what Destiny's facing? Remember, Destiny's only facing a civil suit, which is where I think that should belong. And this one shouldn't have been charged, but it got charged anyway. And, that's what happens when people run around and go crying to the police, and play the game of telephone, as they also phrase at times. So remember, you can't trust the cops. They probably lied. And they force people to lie all the time and all kinds of bad stuff about the cops. I'm just saying, that's what people have said. This was committed on or about May 27th in Stearns County, Minnesota. He says, I am represented by an attorney whose name is Todd Peterson. So he's showing that I have had access to counsel. I've had sufficient time to discuss my case with the attorney. I'm satisfied my attorney has fully informed me of the facts. My attorney discussed possible defenses to the crime I might have. I'm satisfied my attorney has represented my interests and has fully advised me. This prevents him from coming back and saying, oh, my lawyer fucked me. He didn't tell me anything. So that is what we're doing here. He's saying, I've never been to a patient in a mental hospital. Why? Because that way there's no issues of competency. He can't say, look, I'm crazy. You can't trust me. And then he says, and guys, I think some of you are saying, what am I saying about both of them having felonies? Remember, I'm saying it shouldn't have been a felony, and Arron shouldn't have been charged at all. Just like Destiny, like criminal charges are not necessary. They shouldn't be filed. There's a civil suit. Go ahead and get that civil suit going. Brew that up. Just like Arron, if that was really going to be something, so like getting the government involved like this, kind of gay. Pretty gay. He says, I have not been ill recently. Now, this doesn't mean mentally ill. This just means the issue of, was I sick? Was it like I am in a lot of pain? I can't think straight. All the issues like that. I've also not talked with or been treated by a psychiatrist or other person for a nervous or mental condition. Now, if he had been, the court will sit down with him and say, okay, you're meeting a psychiatrist. What is your problem? What are we talking about? What does this do for you? Can you think straight? Can you think clearly? Maybe we need to have a competency evaluation. What were you hospitalized with in the mental hospital? How long ago was it? Is that clear it's not affecting you anymore? Those are all things that have to be addressed if he does say he has. And that would probably be at length on the record. He says, I have not recently been taking pills or other medicines. Now, this shows that he is not taking any medications that would affect his judgment or his ability to think clearly. Now, it's funny because when you go to court sometimes with somebody and they're like, on any medication, and they're like, yeah, I take Claritin. Or one time somebody was, what did they say they took? The guy's like, I'm on like vitamin D. I take vitamin D shots or something. And I was like, no, he means like heavy medications. Anything you can't operate a car or heavy machinery with, all those things they tell you don't operate heavy machinery. You could hurt people. All those things. That's really what they're looking for. He says, I do not make the claim I was so drunk or under the influence of drugs or medicine. I didn't know what I was doing at the time of the crime. That's just him trying to, they're just heading off problems of the past. And you guys can see, this is done through the Minnesota Supreme Court. This is a state level form. And the courts want to use this, they can, or they can modify it as they want. He also says, I do not make the claim I was acting in self-defense or merely protecting myself or others at the time of the crime. Pretty obvious. It's eliminating things he can do. He says, I was, and here you go, and he says, I was represented by an attorney, but he also is saying, I have not had a probable cause hearing. He says, I know that I could now move that the complaint against me be dismissed for lack of probable cause. I know that if I do not make such a motion and go ahead with entering my plea of guilty, I waive all right to object to the absence of a probable cause hearing. And if you waive that, it's done. By entering the plea, it's done. He says, I also know I waive all right to successfully object to any errors in the probable cause hearing when I enter my plea of guilty. So it's just an acknowledgement. When you enter plea, you really limit yourself to the plea for appeal purposes, guys, to the plea hearing and your sentencing. And he says, my attorney has told me a couple of things. The prosecutor has a case against me. The physical evidence I was obtained, evidence in the form of statements that I made or other people made, the evidence discovered as a result of my statements, identification evidence, if there's any out there, evidence the prosecution believes indicates I committed this offense. He's being discussed and told that he has, Arron's also acknowledging my attorney has told me I have the right to a pretrial hearing before a judge to determine whether or not the evidence the prosecutor has could be used against me if I went to trial. Now, would that be a suppression? Well, that becomes more of a motion in limine, where the court has to make rulings on the admissibility of things. In some courts you go in front of, I've been in front of a judge, he was specific about this. He had hearings about pretrial admissibility of all exhibits. Now, obviously, if you were going to enter something like there's a change at the last minute or impeachment evidence, you don't have to discuss that. But in general, you would have pretrial admissibility hearings. So that does happen at times. And he says, if you requested such a pretrial hearing, I could testify at that hearing if I wanted to, but my testimony cannot be used as substantive evidence against me if I went to trial in this case. He says, I do not request such a pretrial hearing, and I specifically do now waive my right to have such a pretrial hearing. Also, chat, you could also argue if this was like a Frank's hearing, discussing some things, that might be factored in as well. But generally speaking, at a suppression or a motion in limine or any type of thing like that, you're not going to talk as a defendant. That would be absolutely insane. But it could happen, theoretically. It says that whether or not I've had such a hearing, I will not be able to object tomorrow or any other time to evidence that the prosecutor has. So I've been told my attorney and understand that if I wish to plead not guilty, I'm entitled to a trial by jury on the issue of guilt, and all jurors would have to agree unanimously I was guilty before the jury could find me guilty. That if I plead guilty, I will not have a trial by either a jury or by a judge. So no jury trial, no bench trial. And also, Chad, I will mention, guys, last week, I mentioned I was having that trial set for next Tuesday. We actually pled out. We got what we were looking for. We were holding out. And we came in yesterday, told them, hey, we're ready to go. And the prosecutor's like, how about we talk for a minute? And he's like, what do I got to do? And I told him, and he's like, give me a minute. And he ran down the hallway and come back like, all right, we'll do what you want. So I don't have trial next week. If there's other stuff we can cover, chat, we'll be working on that and through this weekend as well. So he says, that with knowledge of my right to trial on the issue of guilt, I now waive my right to a trial. And notice this whole thing about the trial, it's in its own section because it is so critical. Your right to trial is guaranteed to you in the 6th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. This is such a big deal. It's got its own little provision. And in fact, here in Ohio, many judges will make you sign a written waiver acknowledging separately that you're waiving your right to trial, specifically just that right, because it is such a critical right that we have. Arron also says, I've been told by my attorney and understand that if I wish to plead not guilty and have a trial by the jury or the judge, I would be presumed innocent until my guilt is proved beyond a reasonable doubt. That should be unless, because, until means it sounds like that's a fait accompli. I think it should be unless my guilt is proved beyond a reasonable doubt. But I've been told by my attorney, and I understand that if I should plead not guilty and have a trial, the prosecutor would be required to have the witnesses testify against me in open court in my presence, the right to confrontation, and that I would have the right through my attorney to question them. Well, we already know 2 of those witnesses, Gino Bisconte and Keanu Thompson, weren't fucking showing up. And it looked like the prosecutor wasn't fucking wasted time on that. So it was just going to be Nick coming in and being like, Arron's the bad man. He ate my goo, ladies and gentlemen. And then I'm sure Kayla getting drug in there and being forced to talk about the disaster that Nick foisted upon them. I'm sure she's going to be thrilled to testify. But those would have been the witnesses. And he says that with knowledge of my right to have the prosecution's witness testify in open court, I waive that right. He also says that I'd be entitled to require any witnesses I think are favorable to me to appear and testify at my trial. And that's acknowledging you have the right of compulsory process, the right to subpoena witnesses and force them to be here by order of the court. And if they don't show up, having the court enforce that order against them. So just like Gino and Keanu, they were going to have a subpoena enforced upon them. Arron would have the same right through his attorney to use court process to compel people to be there. I'm now waiving that. He says, I've been told by my attorney to understand that a person who has prior convictions or a prior conviction can be given a longer prison term because of this. And that's true. The more times you have charges, the more convictions you have, or if you've been to prison, the more prison numbers you have, your odds of getting screwed over go up and up and up and up and up and up. Even for the smallest thing, at some point, it's really bad no matter what. Now, he says the maximum penalty the court can impose for this crime is 1 year of imprisonment. If a minimum sentence required by statute, the court may impose a sentence of imprisonment of not less than 0 months. So it's anywhere from 0 days to 365 days, chat. So it could be no time. Now, we're not worried about the DUI or notice here that for felony driving while impaired, which it can be at times, most sex offenses, and notice we're talking about that, so this doesn't matter. X'd out. We're not talking about issues about conspiracy, aiding, advising, counseling. We're dealing with no conspiracy, no complicity. He does acknowledge my present probation or parole, if I'm on anything, could be revoked. And that's always a warning that this plea of guilty may result in a revocation of your probation somewhere. Now, normally the judge will say, I'm not in charge of that, so I don't know what they'll do. They say the prosecutor seeking an aggravated sentence. Nope. So saying, I've been told by my attorney and understand that my attorney has discussed this case with one of the prosecuting attorneys, and that my attorney and the prosecutor agreed that if I entered a plea, the prosecutor will do the following. And chat, I know people were like, Sean, how do you know this? Can you just believe Arron? This is just chat. This is where, I mean, we need to discuss this just for like half a second, because there's just something you guys need to understand. I know some people on Twitter were like really confused about this too when it came to things, but it's like, just tighten up on me for a second. Tighten up. We're going to tighten up here. Maybe I can talk to other people and I know things. Maybe I have sources. Just a thought. Just a thought. Just think on that. Let it marinate for a minute. Okay. It's not just the steel toe man. Not just the steel toe man. All right, chat. All right. William is like, he's going to eat us. Thanks. All right. So moving back into this. Yes, people confide in me and I don't break fucking confidence. Imagine that. Somebody who not only purports to be a lawyer, but also I don't claim to be a shitbag. I'm not holding myself out as breaking confidence. I keep confidence. Funny how that works, huh? So notice, here is the total things here. Plead guilty to count 2, the gross misdemeanor. Like I kind of said that from the start is what he was probably looking at. No contact order with Kayla Ricada. It continues during probation. So how long is probation? Don't know. No restitution. No, Arron does not have to refund her the cost of one KNU. Dismiss the remaining count. No executed jail. $50 fine. Pre-sentence investigation report. And domestic abuse investigation. So it's like, that's it. That's it, chat. Another win for the toe. If you listen quietly, you can hear it in the silence. It's like the Man of War song. There's the sound heard across the land. Bum, bum. It's heard across the sea. You'll only hear it if you listen with your heart and know Nick Ricada's screaming ree. I'm sure you can hear that. Or if you hear a thudding sound in the distance, that's Nick punching himself in the head. Probably. Oh, it keeps going, though, chat. We're getting through all this. But it's important to cover this so you guys know what it is. That if the court does not approve this agreement, I have and that's the thing, guys. This is interesting because we don't have this in Ohio. You just in Ohio, you get acknowledged, hey, the judge could do whatever the fuck he wants. If the judge doesn't approve the agreement, I have a right to withdraw my plea and have a trial. Yeah, well, any testimony I've given concerning the guilty plea cannot be used against me unless I am charged with the crime of perjury based on the testimony. Now, why do they bring that up? Because the judge asked Arron, well, why are you pleading guilty? Because I did the thing. I disseminated I non-consensually disseminated a nude picture. So notice that's a complete admission. The prosecutor could go, aha, he admitted to the offense. But if the court blows up the plea deal, that can't be used against him. He says, except for the agreement between my attorney and the prosecutor, he says, no one, including my attorney, police officer, prosecutor, judge, or any other person, has made promises to me, any member of my family, or in any of my friends or other persons in order to obtain a guilty plea from me. No one, including my attorney, police officer, prosecutor, has threatened me. And that's important because, have you been threatened? Have you been promised? No. And normally they also say, have you been promised anything other than this? Well, there you go. And he says, my attorney has told me that if I understand guys, also, I need to catch myself. I said something retarded. We need to go back, fix it. The judge doesn't approve the agreement. The judge will say, I'm not accepting the plea. Although the way this is phrased, it could be the way I'm going to just not accept the plea and sentence you. And you could say, well, I want to withdraw my plea. So, because if the judge just automatically says, I'm not accepting your plea, well, then there's no plea and you don't have to worry about anything because you have the right to withdraw your plea. So I interpreted this when I read it as if the judge sentences me outside of the plea agreement, I can withdraw my plea and go to trial, but we'll see. And he says, and my attorneys have told me my plea of guilty is not accepted by the court before I withdraw the plea, or if the plea is withdrawn by the court order on appeal or other review, meaning so an appellate court could get involved. I would then, and here's the thing that everybody has, if you withdraw your plea, you're standing trial on the original charges. And the prosecutor can proceed against you as just if there had been no plea of guilty and no plea agreement. And they proceed as though it never happened. My attorneys told me, and I understand that if my plea of guilty is accepted by the judge, I have the right to appeal. But that appeal I may make, claiming errors in those things, probably would be useless and a waste of my time in the courts. Yes. And that's normally what happens, chat. And like if there's a minor thing the court didn't do right. So, for example, in Ohio, if you don't get advised of, if you're given a prison sentence, you're not advised of your PRC, post-release control, or other advisements. The appeals court could say, yeah, we read the transcript. You got to get resentenced. The court goes, okay, blah, 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 blah. And by the way, you have a probation note or parole notice. And I sentence you again to the same sentence. Have a nice day. So literally, it doesn't change anything. Generally, when people appeal a plea offer and they appeal a sentencing based on a plea, there's nothing to it. You end up having to file an Anders brief saying there's no actual grounds for an appeal. The court did everything correctly. So, and also, I think there's some people on the farms who are Minnesota attorneys who are, feel free to correct me at that last little bit too if I fucked it up. Not Nick, like practicing Minnesota attorneys. My attorney has told me, and I understand, a judge will not accept a plea of guilty for anyone who claims to be innocent. True. I now make no claim that I am innocent. I've been told by my attorney, and I understand that I wish to plead not guilty and have a jury trial. I could testify at trial if I wanted to, but could not be forced to testify. That if I decided not to testify, neither the prosecutor nor the judge could comment on the failure. Remember, that's your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. Uh-oh, Clyde's in trouble. That with the knowledge of my right not to testify, and that neither the judge nor the prosecutor could comment on it, I now waive and give up this right and will tell the judge about the facts of the crime. Oh my gosh, you guys sent so much crap down here. All right. He says, my attorneys told me, and I understand, that if I'm not a citizen of the United States, this plea of guilty could result in deportation, exclusion from admission to the United States of America, or denial of citizenship. Well, it depends. Depends on which district court judge you're in front of. I'm probably thinking some of them will prevent that. So in view of all the above facts, I wish to enter a guilty plea. This was today by Arron Imholte. Did not include his address, and that is it. So Arron's plea has been accepted. He's getting sentenced, I think, sometime in June, from what I've heard. There has not been an update to that. That is the only thing that's out there is a notice of a hearing. And the hearing is weird because it says, it's set for today. There was a hearing set for today, and that was it. So Arron is done. He'll get sentenced. Looks like he's getting exactly what he said. Exactly what he said. Oh. Jail says, let me get this straight. Nick is into threesomes and letting his wife screw around, but is mad because Arron showed a nude. Well, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why Nick got mad, but yes, mainly that. And it's just, Nick can't quit Arron. He can't quit him. It's just like watching Brokeback Mountain. Natasha says, will you go to Nick's sentencing? No. Guys, Nick's sentencing is set for next week. Actually, it'll be next Friday. I believe it's the 18th or it's 17th. I forget which day. But no, he's going to get sentenced. And guys, remember, like I told you, he's going to get the basically deferred adjudication or the diversion or intervention, whatever it is you want to call it. He'll be given like a year and a half, 2 years of probation to complete, show he's compliant with treatment, show he can stay clean and lead a law-abiding life, and then they'll dismiss the case against him. So and it's kind of like I told you guys from the start, that's what's going to happen to Nick. So not a whole lot there to talk about. Not a whole lot there to talk about. Yes. Your Honor, this is all Eric July's fault. Well, that's not a good idea to do it. That's not a good idea to do it. Oh. Karen says, does this misdemeanor prevent Arron from buying a firearm? No, based on this, no, because under federal law, under 18 U.S.C. 922G, the idea is it has to be greater than a year. So 365 days is not greater than a year. And it's the same thing in Ohio. There's a level of felony in Ohio. It's called a 5th degree felony. You face anywhere from 6 months to 12 months of incarceration in prison. 12 months is not greater than a year. So in Ohio, there are times you could be sentenced to felonies, like, for example, felony theft or forgery or breaking and entering can be an F5. Different types of crimes like that. And you are not excluded under federal law from possessing a firearm, nor Ohio law from possessing a firearm. So that's the neat way you can get around that. Now, in Ohio, if you get caught with, a fifth degree felony level of drug possession, though, you are prohibited from owning a firearm. So it's got to be certain offenses, but there are certain offenses in Ohio where you could be a felon, legally own a firearm under state law and federal law. It's actually kind of interesting. But no, Arron should be okay here as far as I can tell. But I don't think Aaron's a big gun guy, so doesn't really matter. Yes, F5s in Ohio are not an F5 in Ohio for criminals. That's not like a tornado. It actually in Ohio, an F5 is good. An F1, a first degree felony, that's bad. That's really bad. So, Schneebly says, do you think this is a decent outcome or could he have beat the charges? It seems to me like he could have won with a decent defense, but as a broke bum, he went with the cheaper option. No. I mean, you're facing a felony, and it's a felony. You're going to pull in 12 people at a jury, and you're going to have to hope either you can get one of them to agree with you or all of them to agree that this is piddly dick bullshit and, go after Nick and Kayla and have them just be seen as like, fuck these people. They were messing around. Nobody cares. Like, that's going to be your strategy. You might also be able to argue if Gino and Keanu don't show up. You could say, was it really a picture? What kind of picture? How do you know? You don't really know. All those things, yes, you could try that, but is that worth the risk? I mean, that's something I would tell anybody. If I was advised, like if Arron was my client, I would say, you are in a good position here. Like it's about how much exposure do you want? Do you really want to risk going all this far? And it's hard to, anybody could say like, oh, I'd stand and I keep it 10 toes down and I would box it up. Let's go to trial. Everybody says that till you're actually sitting in fucking trial and there's 12 people staring at you and you're like, oh my God, they might not like what happened here. So no, from what I know, Arron actually made a pretty decent decision. Loida says, do they have metadata? No, they don't have any information at all of any of that stuff. From what I can tell, although, I don't know. I haven't seen Arron's discovery. So maybe they do, but I doubt it. Remember, they came off this thing, they had him dead to rights. And then they come back and offer a misdemeanor. It's like, did they really have somebody dead to rights? So, no, I think Arron, it was, it makes sense to me. You could turn a felony into a misdemeanor. Good for you. That's generally not a bad day. He still got a conviction, but you limited the exposure with minimal risk. And that's the calculus someone has to make. And Arron decided he didn't want to take that chance of going to trial, and I don't blame him because it's a crapshoot. Jury might agree with you, and they might not. And if they don't, do you really want to take that risk? And that's the thing. Everybody says they want they want to be a gangster and go to trial like Al Capone. It's like that's something you really have to consider because I go home at the end of the day no matter what happens. If you go to trial and lose, you're stuck here. How confident are you? Not people are that confident. Not people are that confident. So I do think it was the best option available. I do think the $50 fine and all of that symbolically are fucking hilarious. So I think that's some calculus involved in here too, that sticking it to everybody and I got away with a $50 fine just shows how paltry and retarded this entire thing is. It shows the prosecutors like they aren't really out for blood. They're like, oh my God, this is fucking retarded. And I'm sure that happened as they did their witness prep because they learned two of their witnesses are fucking retards. And I'm not talking about Gino and Keanu. I'm just saying. You draw your own conclusions. So we got some super chat stuff to get here. Nico for $17.76. Super based. He's saying, so a KNU is still worth $50, or is it now worth $0? Either way, it looks like another win for the toe. And yes, the 76 cents is for all those cheapskate 99-cent people. Well, thank you, Nico. Thank you. AJ Arguello for $50 doodles. Thank you, AJ. You know, here's the value of 1 KNU. Yes, value of 1 Kayla nude unit of value. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Then Unforced Ego for $50. Another pink one out there, chat. Another win for the toe. Here's 1 KNU, Sean. I don't know how you do it. How do you, as a practice attorney, keep getting these outcomes correct? Safa. You know, guys, this is going back through all this. I think I've said it before, and I pointed out over on the farms. A lot of people have gotten this outcome correct. They guessed properly, and it's not a surprise. It's not a surprise. I mean, I know I appreciate you guys saying I got it right, and I did. But this is not the crime of the century. This is not an intricate, complex legal situation. I know the people involved in it, and probably one of the main characters involved in it, thinks this is like some boutique legal issue that's niche. And, it's going to be like something that they'll be doing law review studies on. It's just like, how do you navigate? It's like it's a complex, transnational merger or something. No. Fucking guy got caught with a bunch of fucking drugs. Children's Services got involved, and a bunch of white trash shit went down. Like, happens all the time. Remember, guys, this is this story is literally dog bites mailman. Happens all the time, everywhere. So that's why it wasn't that really big of a shock to me. Wasn't that big of a shock to me. That or this wasn't a big shock either. So I appreciate it, though. I appreciate it. But like I said, this is not, a lot of people out there practicing attorneys got this one right, too. So, all right. Hold on here, guys. Cedar Rose says, Sean should volunteer to pay the $50 fine. He made so much off it after all. Well, I mean, can I pay with my Stoney's gift certificate? Because, I mean, that's $50 in monetary value. I mean, I'd love to be able to use that to pay with. Yes, thank you, Cedar Rose. Oh. Aaron's chat offered to pay the $50. Well, there we go. I was hoping Aaron's next show, he just does for the next show Aaron does, he just says the goal for the show is $50. That's it. $50 for overtime, chat. That's it. I think that would be hilarious if he did it. Jim says, by the way, Jim, how are you doing? He says, but they had stolen blueprints for the F-47 inside the metadata of those photos. The ITAR is going to come down on the toe like a load of shit bricks. High Number says, how do you think the Muhammad Khalil thing will go down? Will be Supreme Court issue? Don't know yet, because the information, well, not all the information, some of it got released. The basic statement, I don't know. I don't think it's going to get that far, but we'll see what happens. We're going to have to talk about that. I think that requires its own discussion. And I didn't see it in time enough to get prepared up and read on it, but always remember, chat, immigration law is not the same standard as a beyond a reasonable doubt threshold. You also don't have to commit crimes to get deported. Conduct and action that could violate a visa or other things you're doing don't have to be actually charged as crimes to do it. It would help, but that doesn't guarantee. That's not an automatic necessity. Muhammad Khalil, he is the guy, Mahmoud Khalil, sorry. Mahmoud Khalil is the guy that was at Columbia who was out, running around being anti-Zionist, which you're like, well, that shouldn't be a problem, but was doing it in support of Hamas. And yes, it apparently turns out he had done some work for the Foreign Commonwealth Office, which means he's a glowy. It's kind of like working for USAID. If you're doing foreign work, you're probably in the CIA if you're doing that. Was a glowy for British intelligence, probably. We're not really sure, though, all of that. But basically, he got detained for his views and his actions against the great state of Israel. And I'm like, yeah, I don't like doing Israel's bidding, but it's more of if we're getting rid of shit bags like, afuera, or I don't know how you say afuera in Arabic, but yeah, sure. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think there's more there. But isn't he a foreign agent? I mean, yeah, if he was working with the FCO, there probably is, and he probably has ties to British intelligence. But remember, none of that is actually in the documents that were served by Marco Rubio to the and were filed in the immigration court. So if that's there, that's not part of what he initially did or why he was apprehended. Or for some reason, the government's not wanting to disclose it because they would rather just try a lesser reason. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see on that. So put a pin in that one. So. Bella says, "Oh, come on. He led the negotiations on behalf of the group." And that's what I mean. That is negotiating. They took the janitor hostage. And I forgot about that part. Yes, he did that. But from reading what is in the actual document that Marco Rubio, that's been released so far, that doesn't say that. It says actions, but it's not very clear about what all that is. So we're probably going to need a little bit more out of it. So we'll see. But I agree. If they could show all that, they should have shown it like that, but they didn't. So we'll see there. But either way, I don't feel bad for him. He could take his glowy ass home. He could take his glowy asshole home. Karji. Kari. I don't know how you say that. Glowies are feds. Well, he's a glowy for British intelligence. He's a glowy still. You can run him over to your truck. Say bara to say it in Arabic. Okay. Don't bother. Sean has to take his kicks at the Jews. It's reflexive. I'm just saying, you got to be careful. You have to be careful when they're like, oh, well, he's expressing a viewpoint against, Israel. It's like, okay, but that alone, because I've expressed points against Israel. So you need to show me more than that. And if he's done something wrong, kind of like that Turk chick down in Boston, where it's like, okay, she did a lot more than that, afuera. Once you do a lot more than just say something, afuera. So she can go criticize Israel over in Turkey. She can have fun with that. The only countries who would allow him in were the Great White Guild West. Well, that's true. I'm afraid I'm going to be sent a beeper. Well, it's going to be to blow me up. You're going to need a big fucking beeper. Let me say you that much. Oh, you're totally going to send me a beeper. It's going to be a big one. Anyway, chat, we are moving on. Oh, what did the Turk girl do? Oh, she was involved in some anti-Israel protest up in Boston, I think, or some of the other ones that got out of hand. And she was like an active participant in like going in buildings and being an asshole. So she gets a fuera. Just a fuerad. So moving on from there, chat, we are moving on. Russell Brand. Guys, if you weren't aware, you guys know who Russell Brand is. News came out recently, the past week. Russell Brand has new charges. He has some charges here, chat. And these charges are, it's interesting. It's interesting what happens to this. So Russell Brand has been charged with rape and other offenses. And this is from the Metropolitan Police. So what did they say? Charged. But I love how they do that. And they've got the handcuffs in the picture. It's like, well, that's a great presumption of someone's innocence. So Russell Brand has been charged by the Metropolitan Police Service. Now it starts off, and this is a press release from the British police, and it says the Crown Prosecution Service. Now, guys, the Crown Prosecution Service are British prosecutors. They are in charge of prosecuting the crimes. So, you guys ever watched Law and Order UK? Yes, it's a real thing. They're the people that wear the robes and the wigs. So they are British prosecutors. They authorized a charge following an investigation. It says Russell Brand has been charged with the following offenses: 1 count of rape, indecent assault, oral rape, and sexual assault. I'm sure if he changed his name to Mohammed Al-Bran, they'd be like, oh, it's all forgiven. But he didn't do that yet. So these investigations began in September 2023 after receiving other allegations. And it's alleged that in 1999, a woman was raped in the Bournemouth area. In 2001, a woman was indecently assaulted in Westminster in London. In 2004, a woman was orally raped and sexually assaulted in the Westminster area of London. And between 2004 and 5, a woman was sexually assaulted in the Westminster area of London. Now, he's going to appear at a court in Friday, May 2nd. And they said the women who have been involved in this have made reports and continue to receive. They talk about they being supported. And this is just more information they're trying to tell people here. All of this here about what's going on. And they say that this is, I love this part from the British government. You have editorials, publishers, social media users should take legal advice assuring they're in a position to fully comply with the obligations they're subject to under the common law and the Contempt of Court Act of 1981. Yeah, well, fuck you guys. Notice there's no, he's innocent. At this time he's innocent and unless proven guilty or anything like that, or all sucks. It's like watching cops. All suspects are innocent and proven guilty in the court of law. So what does that mean? It's a little ridiculous. It's a little ridiculous. So, that's where he is right now. And some of you guys might say, well, wait, how can this be from so far back? Well, in the United Kingdom, for rape and other serious sexual offenses, there is no statute of limitations. So, yeah, that's why it can last forever. That's why these are coming back. So, I kind of just answered it for you. There is no statute of limitations for these types of offenses. Syria saying, why is he even going back? We have extradition treaties. We have extradition treaties with the United Kingdom. If he doesn't go back, he will be extradited. So I'm sure they promised if he comes back, he'll be arraigned or notified of charges and he'll be released. So that's why. That's why you don't. That's why you go. That's why you go. If he doesn't go, he'll have to get extradited and that won't end well for him. So he's going to have to. He's going to have to go. He's going to have to afuera himself to Britain. Now, this is from The Guardian. They talk about it a little bit more. These go on after there was a range of allegations. It's 4 separate women. So it's not the same women in any of these things here. So they're trying to figure out what happened. So they, the prosecutors are like, we decided he should be charged with all these crimes. And then, yes, the prosecutors have said, everyone that criminal proceedings are active, he has the right to a fair trial. Well, he's also innocent as of this point. But remember, that's not how they do stuff over there. Now, Russell Brand has said that these things have been ongoing. But we don't, that's something he claimed he was being shut down and attacked for. True or not, we'll see. These women allege these took place during a time he was working for the BBC and Channel 4, which is a channel over in the UK. So that is where the things are for Russell Brand. It's very serious. It's very serious. Can he not just waive arraignment in the UK? I don't know how UK law works, says Axios. Well, you probably can waive some things, but he's got to appear at some point. And if you had a felony charge like that here in the United States and you were facing charges, it's one thing a court might waive some hearing your presence here and there, but to waive your appearance at an initial appearance like this, no, they're not just going to let you wander off like that. You're not just going to be able to wander off like that. And like, I'm not coming to court, and they're going to go, okay. It's like, nah, it's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. So That is not going to happen at all. So just make sure you understand that. Like you're not really going to get away with that. You're not going to get away with that. Now he does have other things that are going against him. This is, people is commenting on this. He also has a separate civil sexual assault case in the United States, and he has some other stuff that's pending that were filed against him back in 2023 in New York State Court. So he's been alleged of sexually assaulting a woman in a bathroom and exposing his penis to her on the set of a movie. And she submitted an affidavit, and she says that he was intoxicated and smelled alcohol, was carrying a bottle of vodka in July of 2010. He then reportedly exposed his penis to her in full view of the cast. Now, you guys are saying 2010, but remember, in 2023 is when they had the Trump law. The Trump law was put into effect. And remember, people, the statute of limitations was reopened for 1 year for anything. And remember, that was orchestrated to get Donald Trump sued. But everybody else took advantage of it. Remember the woman, Cassie Ventura, sued P. Diddy. And P. Diddy immediately the next day settled. That law was used by many, 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 many people. Now, that is something that it could be, people are, there's a concern now. Because there's a concern that Russell might get prosecuted when he comes back for this. He might have criminal prosecution in the United States. There's also concern some of these facts may overlap with the UK cases. So there are some things that might affect Russell here. The LA police said they don't have an open investigation into him. But things are starting to pile up. Things are starting to add up for him. Was Russell Brand in a movie with P. Diddy? I don't know. I don't know. Bella's saying, are they trying these as a pattern of behavior? I don't think so. I don't have any of that information. But they might try that over in Britain. Remember, the rules are a little different over there. They can do all kinds of things. Oh, he was in Get Him to the Greek? I think I watched that once. I don't even remember it. Let me see here. What's the statute of limitations for whipping your crank out while drunk? Well, otherwise, that statute of limitations would have expired here in New York. But remember, they passed the law repealing that for a whole year. Now, in the UK, would that count as a serious sexual offense? I don't think so, but I don't know for sure. So, like I said, chat, we're going to have to kind of defer on that one for now. So that is kind of what's happening, Russell. I almost said Russell Greer. Russell Greer wishes he could wave his penis in front of a woman like that. But no, that is not Russell Greer dealing with it. That is not Russell Greer. Oh, God, chat. Oh, my God. All right. What is... Okay. All right, chat. Moving on from there, we have an update in the Karen Reed case. Jury selection has been ongoing, and we now know some information about the jury selection here. So jury selection is not done, but we do know they are getting very, very close. This one reporter's been there. They have 8 men, 8 women seated, and 16 people in total on the jury for now. They had 3 new ones today. 2 were previously excused. Now, here's the thing. They can only do so many jurors at a time. They're doing things here. They want more jurors. Allegedly, they're trying to get up to 18 total, so meaning 12 jurors plus 6 alternates, just covering their bases, making sure they have enough. But jury selection is back on Monday. It's my understanding tomorrow they are not doing jury selection, so that'll be a thing there. So Karen Reed is still not in trial, but we are fast approaching a trial date for Karen Reed. We are fast approaching a trial date for Karen Reed. Let's see here. Okay, where are we? Hour and 10 in. All right. Okay. So, first thing that's going on, if you guys were not aware, I'm sure so many of you cared about this because it's totally in your sector of the world that you would care about this. The bar exam. And if you guys don't know what a bar exam is, the bar exam is what lawyers take. It's a licensure test, and you take it with the idea that if you pass it, you are then licensed to practice law in the state that you take it for. Many states have what's called part of the uniform bar exam now, but there are states that still have their own. And every state has their own requirements if you want to come practice in it. So, for example, in Florida, you have to take the Florida bar if you want to practice in Florida. You can't just show up and wave into it. They don't let you do that because everybody retires to Florida and they don't want a million attorneys who are semi-retired fucking around and eating up business. Well, another place where you have to take the bar is California. California doesn't let you just show up. California is pretty complex. Now, you could pro hoc in like ASAP Rocky's attorneys did. But in California, you have to take the bar exam. California is one of the hardest bar exams in the country because California's law is so different than every other state's. Now, it's not like Louisiana where it's the civil system, but for example, property law, like it's different in California. A lot of law just in general is different in California. Now, unlike law students says, don't remind me. Yes. And that's the thing. When you guys are in law, if you ever go to a law library at a law school and you'll see study aids, it'll be like for the general topics you can have. I'm going to say like property law study guide. And this is property law study guide : California. Because in California, it is so different. Well, California's bar this year tried to do a unique hybrid bar where some people could be at home, some people could be in person. They didn't do it. They kind of did. They tried to be unique about it. Well, back in February, when people took the bar, it was a disaster. And even leading up to it was a disaster. The exam was a botched. It was completely destroyed. It was a complete disaster. They aren't making this. They couldn't make decisions about how to deal with the test scores because there were so many problems. They did a hybrid exam that was remote and in person. It didn't include any components of the national bar exams the state had used for decades. They tried to do this to be reducing cost, but people who were taking it, the software kept crashing. They were getting interrupted by the proctors. There were concerns that people were cheating. Overall, it was a complete disaster. The state bar was planning to do a limited retest in March, and any of the 4,300 people who took the test and failed could retake the July exam for free. So they're trying to, that was their way of fixing it, saying, we'll let you retake it in July. Well, for some people, they've got job offers depending on them. You know, you graduated in December, we'll hire you, study for the bar, and then we need you practicing right away. Not 7 months from now or 8. And remember, you don't need to take it in July. It's going to be August and September. You're probably not getting sworn in until October. So that's 10, 11 months down the road. Employers can't wait to have you not in the fight that long. So this could affect a lot of people in a lot of different ways. There are potential class action suits being alleged. There's all kinds of things that have happened now. And unlike law students, I'm in law school in New York and will be practicing in Cali. Ooh, buddy. That's interesting. Where do you go to law school, if you don't mind me asking? Because there's a lot of law schools in New York. So what happened here? Well, most recently, and this is the big thing, during COVID, like, how did this get handled? Because remember, guys, COVID hit at the end of February, and that's when everything kind of fell apart. Well, that's when bar exams are taken, is toward the end of February. So California did provisional licensing because everything was a disaster because of COVID. So provisionally you had a license, but you still had to take the bar at some point. Well, it kind of fell apart for everybody. And California has put the pause on provisional lawyer licensing. So they're kind of telling everybody to go suck a dick. Go suck a dick. So that's the interesting thing here. New York Law School. I don't think I've heard of this. Oh, you're down in Tribeca. Okay. At first, I thought you said NYU. I was like, ooh la la, fancy pants. Yes, Taxios, 12 years a law clerk. Waffle Lucas says, with COVID, I graduated in May, took the bar in July. I didn't find out until November and wasn't sworn in until mid-December. Absolutely horrible. And Massachusetts is one of the faster states. Yeah, that's the thing, guys. COVID was disastrous for people. Unlike lessons, I'm terrible at poker. So Katie's saying, who the fuck would a provisional lawyer representing him? Well, people don't have to, but like, for example, in a law firm, you're going to be working under somebody else anyway. They could be representing people. They could be helping take care of stuff. There are people who would want that. There are people who would want that. So that's not too foreign of an idea here. But the state of California said, sorry, guys, we fucked you over. And it's like, lol, tough luck, no refunds. So what happened? So that they withdrew their proposal, but they're allowing people to go ahead with the July bar exam. Now the problem is the pass rate was relatively low. It's the February bar has a relatively low pass rate. California is a very tough one. So it's already tough, and it's only 35% past the February one. February bar is typically second time through takers because most people take it in July. I was a first time taker because I ended up having to go all the way through the summer to take my law school credits for the final year. So I ended up taking it in February for the first time. So they are trying to figure out, and they're worried about protecting the public, and that's not a bad idea. But remember, this was their fault. This wasn't COVID. And they admit, yeah, we failed, but we need to do the right thing, not just the quick thing. Well, you fucked people over. Like, what are you supposed to do for them? What are you supposed to do for them? But people had delays. There were computer crashes. There were distracting proctors. And that's the thing. People were sitting, like, doing it online, and the proctors were being fucking retarded. Copy and paste functions that didn't work. All kinds of problems. If you guys go on Twitter, there was all kinds of disasters that happened. All kinds of disasters. 2 groups of examinees have sued the testing vendor, Measure Learning. And they're complaining because they didn't function the test platforms properly, despite the technical issues. So it's going to be very interesting with that. They're thinking of different remedies, though, like score adjustments or portfolio bar exam. And this is where you'd think, oh, it's kind of like submitting a portfolio of work. And that's exactly what it is. So you'd work for an attorney for 4 to 6 months, and you'd submit an acceptable portfolio of legal work. Like, here's filings I've done. I did an eviction. I did a motion to suppress. I did a will. I did this. I reviewed a contract. I've done all these different things. So that's actually not a bad idea, just demonstrating your skills. Is that going to be the best thing for everybody? I don't know, but I think that's a pretty creative way of doing it. Like, here's what I've actually done. Doesn't matter that you won or lost because that's dependent on your facts. But that I've done competent work, I think, is a very good idea. They were all talking about provisional licensure, but they decided they weren't going to do it because they're pussies, because they ruined these people's lives. Now they did, and this is the state bar approved contracts for the vendor ExamSoft. That's who I used when I took the bar. For the upcoming July bar and rentals of 10 exam sites throughout the state. And that's the thing in California, you test all over the place because California is such a big state and there's so many people. In Ohio, for example, there are times in the past they've had like 2 places open, like in Cleveland and Columbus. In New York, for example, you can go to Albany or New York City at times they've done it. But a lot of states, you got to go one place each time. In Ohio, everybody goes to Columbus. So, but they are preparing to do all in-person testing in July. And these costs are going to be, $2.5 to $4.5 million. But it's because they completely fucked up. They completely fucked it all up. Yeah, it's so bad. It's so bad. I feel bad for these guys. I feel so bad for them. They got completely hosed. They got completely hosed by this. Yes, shocker, California failed, yes. Koopa says Safa. Well. When does California not fuck over people, though? To be fair, that's a very good point. That's a very good point. Okay. Serenade says, can't you get these done in an accredited university via the remote exam systems? Because not every school does the same exam system, no. The part of the issue with the bar is everybody uses the same thing. That ensures uniformity, that ensures there's no issues, that ensures everybody's using the same thing. You don't have to worry about, hey, I heard at a school people were using, if everybody went and tested at the state, Cal State, they used a program that's really fucking faulty, and apparently people can get better grades on it and they can game it and cheat it better. Well, I was here at UCLA and we used this one and it was garbage. And this one was really hard and it's a better standard. So their test scores are suspect. No, you do the same thing everywhere. It's uniformity, because think about it. You've trained people to be lawyers. So what are lawyers going to do? Bitch and fucking moan. You don't want that. You don't want that problem. You don't want that problem. You don't want that problem. You don't want that problem at all. But with the bar exams, chat, speaking of bars, we do need to address our sponsors tonight. One of our sponsors, chat. Well, you know what? Normally it's last but not least, but you know what? We're going to start off with them. Stoney's Bar and Grill. That's right, chat. Stoney's Bar and Grill at 158 East Broadway Street in Rockville, Minnesota, chat. Yes, chat, that's right. Stoney's is your place to go when you are looking to celebrate and have a great time. You avoided going to jail and doing everything like that. Go to Stoney's, have a road pop or two. Remember, chat, Stoney's is still on the winter hours opening schedule. So tomorrow they open at noon, Saturday 10:30, Sunday they open at 10:30 as well. But Stoney's is your place to go, chat. Remember, it's Thursday night. It's $2.50 cans. What more can you want from a place? $2.50 cans. I mean, really, guys, $2.50 cans. Now, remember, chat, 2 weeks out from tonight. So that would be the 24th. The first bike night of the season is happening out at Stoney's. They got that brand new patio. They are super stoked. Starting at 4 p.m. It's the first bike night of the season. They're going to be there. They're going to have a food truck. The Heavenly Hog's going to be out there serving up the best barbecue you can find in Minnesota. And this weekend, Friday night, they got the Mystery Machine. And then Saturday, they got the Last Minute Heroes. Playing your favorite radio dance rock hits. That's right, chat. Your favorite radio dance rock hits. Not sure what that means, but that's what they're doing there. That's what they're doing at Stoney's. Remember, chat, Stoney's serving Central Minnesota as a premier biker bar for 30 years running. 30 years, chat. 30 years. On addition, chat, you've got the dragonstreasure.com, a haven for tea and anime lovers. Guys, 10% off with the promo code criminal for your teas, your soaps, and your coffees over at the dragonstreasure.com. Hit them up. And then, chat, also, we have MAF Corporation. That's right, chat. MAF-arms.com. That's right, chat. MAF-arms.com. Matt LaRosier, Fudbusters. You guys know him. You love him.
friend of the show. Well, chat, use the promo code POCCRIM. You can get 10% off your wind chimes. Chat, we're getting there. We're getting there. Spring is sprung. It's about time to start planting things out there. The tulips are popping up. 2.0. We got a bunch of tulips planted last year. The bulbs have popped up. We're starting to get them. Everything's about to bloom. 2.0 is thrilled. It's time, chat. Get your wind chimes ready now. Remember, get them ready now so the neighborhood's ready to hear your wind chimes all summer long. You don't want to be sitting there on your back patio putting your wind chimes together and all your other neighbors have their wind chimes out. You don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be that guy. Have your wind chimes ready. MAF Corporation will hook you up with that. Promo code POCCRIM gets you 10% off. So, yes, buy a hat for your tulips. All right, chat. All right, thank you. Thank you for all of that. Real quick, we got some other things to catch up on here real quick. We got some things we got to take care of. Unhung Hero gifting 10 subs. That's right, chat. 10 subs. Thank you guys for your support and your generosity. Debbie O gifting 10 subs. That's right, chat. Let's get those subs rolling. Let's get them in here, chat. Let's deal with this gray problem we've got. We got this gray problem, chat. Unacceptable in here. They're here and we need to get rid of them. You gots to go, Grays. Reformed Convict is joined up as a new member, doing his part, joining the ranks of the Green Army here, getting those H1 green visas, praying the gray away, whatever it is you want to do, chat. He's doing his part.
Fight for the future.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part too.
Are you doing your part? Are you doing your part, chat? We're going to get to the rest of these, though, real quick here. Johan Naxos gifting 10 more subs. Doing his part, chat. Bibliophile jumping in the fight with 10 more subs. That's right, chat. 10 more. 10 more. Hold on. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis. Siete, ocho, nueve, one more. 10. 10 more. Where we go? Fred Rush gifting 5 subs. Fred, thank you for the support. And then Shredder S07 gifting 10 more subs, chat. That's right. 10 more. 10 more subs. And you know what, chat? That's just so you Grays understand. So you Grays understand here. You guys need to understand. You are not welcome here.
See this? That means not welcome.
That's right, chat. Not welcome. You see what this means? Not welcome. Not welcome at all. Not welcome at all, chat. So, thank you guys very much for being. Thank you much for your generosity and your support here, helping make this chat green, doing your part. Just means not welcome, guys. Not welcome. One day I'll come in, I'll take like a Sharpie out. I have a green Sharpie. I could just scribble on here and be like, see what this means? It means not welcome. I think I'll do that one night. Oh, gosh. All right. So, other news that's out there, chat, talking about some celebrities and their sexcapades that they're involved in. Souja Boy, tell him. Souja Boy, you guys may remember him when he Superman that hoe. You know, you remember the song Crank That? You know, you're like, oh, wow, that's a long time ago. Yes, and then he had his scam video game thing he was working on where all the video game companies went after him. Well, Souja Boy had a jury trial. I didn't know anything about this till I saw the news today come out. Souja Boy has been ordered to pay $4 million to a woman who accused him of sexual assault. He was found liable today in a court. And he was found liable for sexual battery, assault, and imprisonment by a woman who said she was his assistant. So this Souja Boy, like I said, if you guys remember, he did his video game hustle and scam he was working. So came out today. He was in California in a court. and he's been ordered to pay $4 million. And he has been found liable he was found liable for a handful of claims: sexual battery, assault, and imprisonment. In a lawsuit by a woman who worked as his assistant. She filed her complaint anonymously, and I'm going to try to find it and get a hold of it, but I only learned of this as I was getting ready tonight. And it blew up on Twitter. It's like, wow. So she claims that he regularly raped her and beat her and sometimes kept her as a prisoner. Sounds like some Diddy shit. Sounds like some Diddy stuff, chat, huh? Sounds like some Diddy stuff. It seems a little interesting. It sounds a little interesting. So anyway, she claims that she was 150 pounds when she started working for him. And she says, by the time I left, I was 86 pounds. That's some like concentration camp weight loss right there, chat. You don't need cocaine for that kind of weight loss. She testified that while she worked for Souja Boy, she did not have a car, and her phone went missing along with her driver's license. Very much like Andrew Tate would kind of do things, huh? Kind of weird. It's kind of weird how these things all play out like that. It's kind of weird how these things play out. You know, it's like it all rhymes. It's like it all rhymes. It's so weird. I'm just saying, chat. It's a little weird. It's a little weird. So, they go on to talk about this more, and I'm hoping there's more to look at. I know it wasn't televised, which sucks. I'd be curious about this. So he would tell her, though, baby, come back. Let's talk seriously. And he says, are you okay? I'm sorry. I love you. And it's been a 3-week-long trial, and I never heard about this. And interesting enough, you guys didn't hear about it either. I was surprised some of you guys hadn't mentioned this to me, because I don't think anybody did. If you did and I never saw it, I am so sorry. But yeah, this is pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. So he's probably going to appeal it. And but yeah, it's interesting that happened today. I don't think a lot of people heard about this case. I do not think a lot of people heard about that trial. So with other people who are having problems out there, this is very, very, very interesting for Andrew Tate. But Andrew Tate has a lawsuit filed against him in the UK. Claims that he pointed a gun at a woman and assaulted them. And he pointed a gun at a woman's face and said, you're going to do as I say, or there'll be hell to pay. He's alleged to have raped and assaulted and coerced this woman. And he says that Andrew Tate threatened to kill her and says he would kill anyone who spoke to her. And a third claims that Tate had convinced her he killed other people, which I'm totally, because that's really what he could do, that blithering idiot. But anyways, these are all alleged things that are going on as part of his legal challenges. Remember, he's back in Romania now, but he is facing civil and criminal claims out of the UK possibly. And going on from here, chat, there might be some felony activity with the DOJ. According to the court filing, I couldn't get the filing to pull up, chat, but there are concerns that Andrew Tate's case may have some federal involvement. And one of the parties involved in it said, we need to hold up on some things because the Tate brothers might be going to might be dealing with a federal court thing here. So and that's because the defendants that are being sued by Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan want to pause the civil defamation case down in Florida, which we covered last week as the Matrix going after him, until the U.S. federal investigation and or prosecution by the DOJ and the SDNY has concluded. Now, they must know something we don't know, because the DOJ has said no comment, and they don't generally tell you when they're involved in an investigation. But whoa, buddy, this is not good for the Tates. Whoa. Yeah, this is didn't he land in Florida? Yes, he did. But he went back. They've left the country. It's my understanding. They may have flown back since then. But yes, they landed in Florida. But remember, the SDNY has this uncanny ability to exert jurisdiction over all kinds of cases if it wants to, because they're pretty good at using interstate stuff to tie things into their jurisdiction. So even if it's not the SDNY, if it's the Southern District of Florida, the District of Utah, the Central District of California, wherever it is, it doesn't matter. The Tates are in trouble. This is not looking good. This is not looking good at all for them. So this was a motion filed by one of the defense attorneys. They didn't respond to comments when they talked about this. You're like, well, that's kind of interesting. So we will see. But obviously the U.S. Attorney's Office, like, nothing to say. But yeah, the Tate brothers, like, guys, this is getting very interesting. This is getting very, very interesting. Yes, guys, remember, Andrew Tate is a dual U.S. and UK citizen. Yes, Andrew Tate said, me mom was British, and his dad was an American citizen. His dad was in the Air Force. So, yes, also Ross Ulbricht. Yeah, well, there's that too. Bella's saying, I thought Romania refused to extradite him to Britain. Yes, Romania is going to deal with him first, but it is still the British criminal cases are probably not going to go anywhere, but it is the civil cases that are primarily the biggest thing for them in Britain right now, at least. So we'll see what happens. Sorry, gotta pour some water. My throat is very parched. Okay. So moving on from here, Sleaze is saying it's like Christmas. Hold on one second. What's that? Okay, 2.0 saying I was being illiterate, saying my throat was parched. She's like, people can be parched, but I think your throat can be parched too. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But Sleazy is saying it's like Christmas. The walls are... How do you don't know what Christmas is, boy? The walls are closing in on Jeff, Garape, the Tates, Vitaly, and Johnny Somali. Yes. And that's a very good segue, because we're going to move on from all of this. You guys remember, yes, Johnny Somali is facing all kinds of insanity out in Korea. He's added more and more charges. But we are now dealing with Vitaly, the IRL streamer. If you guys don't know who he is, he's been doing pranks and doing live streaming and IRL shit and all kinds of cringe gay stuff for years and years now, for over a decade. This is him, Vitaly. He went to the Philippines because, remember, Johnny Somali went to Japan. Now he's in South Korea. Well, this guy decided to go to the Philippines. And in the Philippines, he decided to fuck around and do some really retarded shit. And basically started harassing people. And one of the things he did, this is him showing up and just acting like a retard to people in the Philippines, in Manila. And here's just some of the stuff he's been doing.
Sir, I have a question. I have a very important question for you. Can I shove this up your booty?
What?
Is that okay or no? Okay.
Huliin mo, kuya.
Like, he's literally fucking around with security guards and all kinds of people as he goes there. It's a good thing he didn't do this when Duterte was president, because he probably would have been killed by the death squads. But this is him fucking around. This Filipino guy's like, what is this retard doing? So,
To be free. Follow me.
Oh, God, bro.
You have to be careful. In the Philippines is one of the, it's interesting to learn this. The Philippines is a very gun-friendly country, surprising for the Far East. It goes back to their American, heritage and all of that, but also because they have a problem with Islamic terrorism and other issues. People are allowed to own firearms there, and many people in the Philippines just fucking own guns that are off the books. But people in the Philippines can carry firearms. It's dangerous to fuck with people. It's not a wise idea, chat. It's not a wise idea. So it is a real problem. I mean, some of this is kind of like funny is just being obnoxious, but even then, disorderly conduct, or as they call it, vexatious activity. And vexatious means you're being frustrating and annoying, is a problem, but he's just acting like an asshole to everybody.
What the fuck?
I'm gonna fucking eat your dog. Excuse me. How much to sell your dog to China?
Sila.
Motherfucker freestyle. Motherfucker
Now, this part's not really an issue, but it just shows you how retarded this guy's been. He goes running around just fucking with people. Like, here's some of the stuff he does.
The king. What? You have a problem? 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 No. What are you gonna do?
Hello.
Hello. Paparazzi, you are best in class on a paparazzi.
Now, guys, I haven't done the service that Andrew Legal Mindset has done on this because, you know, he lives, I think he holidays in the Philippines and has been dealing with a lot of Filipino lawyers. But this is just an example of the shit he's done. He's been harassing and fucking with people on a consistent basis. Goes into malls.
They're gonna call security because you got that.
Give it to them. Give me the bag, yo. Come on the shoulders. Hey, beautiful lady. I just want to tell you one thing. Look at me. Say hello, Chad. Hello, Chad. Are these your followers or no? They're just people.
Yeah, so, I mean... Oh, he also... I forgot about that.
Our permit is...
No, yeah.
Yeah, this is just straight up retarded shit. This is just straight up fucking asinine shit he's done. On top of that, he's done all kinds of other things. Like, this is the one here that's really fucked up. This thing here is really fucked up. This thing here, I mean, if this was in America, he probably could have got killed over this, depending on how this breaks down.
Excuse me, madam. I'm gonna fucking rob you if you keep walking away. I want to give you money. No, okay.
No. Think about that. I'm gonna fucking rob you. That little old lady versus this fucking Slavic retard. Think about that. Does she have a reasonable fear of death or serious bodily injury? There's a massive disparity of force. If someone walks up to you and says, I'm going to fucking rob you if you don't stop. Like, that's a pretty serious issue. That's not like, oh, it's a prank, bro. I just threatened to fucking commit a violent felony on you. Like, this is just straight up retarded. Does she even speak English? I think she did a little bit there if you go back. So listen to him.
Excuse me, madam. I'm gonna fucking rob you if you keep walking away. I want to give you...
Notice she stopped in her tracks. He probably scared the living shit out of her.
Money. No, okay. No. Okay, because you got a COVID mask, you liberal fuck. Go get your vaccine. I was trying to give you money, but all right. Trying to be nicer. You.
So there we go. And it kind of goes back through everything he did. Fucking around, acting like a retard. Well, the Philippine government, instead of pulling a John, we're not going to deport you. They arrested him. He's facing criminal charges of a very serious nature. So he shows up at this press conference just smiling and acting like a fucking retard. But now he's facing fucking prison time in the Philippines. This is him getting arrested. This is him getting taken into custody. They arrested him right off the bat. He's sitting in a Filipino jail right now. And from what Mindset has shown and talked about, it's fucking awful there. You're stuck in you're basically stuck in an open air jail where it's like 100 fucking degrees all the time. And it's the Philippines, so it's 100 and humid. It's nasty out there. This is what he's in now. He started fucking around, and now he's in the jail. This is him at the police department. You know, like, he still doesn't realize, like, it's all a fucking joke. You know, guys, don't go to foreign countries and fuck around. Do not go to foreign countries and fuck around. It doesn't end well. Yeah, I mean, like, he's probably going to get some time out of this. I don't think they're going to knock it down. Yeah. You know, Mindset has said it. He could be in jail for 2 to 3 years awaiting a trial. So he's going to be waiting a long fucking time. Like, that's how retarded this is. That's how retarded this is for him. I tried to find the press conference. I had it up for a second. But he's going away for a bit, man. You know what? It sucks because I mean,
limang acts na chinarge siya ay ipafile sa Taguig, diba? Sa Taguig substation. Ipafile na. At habang doon siya ay under custody siya ng Bureau of Immigration as an undesirable alien. Ngayon, mag-uusap pa ang...
And guys, this is all in Tagalog, so I don't speak Tagalog. I can't help you. But they're basically saying he's a big old piece of shit. Yeah. This is really bad. Yeah. You don't have you have all the same rights everybody else in the Philippines has, which means you don't have a whole lot.
Bureau of Immigration at CIDG ukol sa proseso nito.
They're not
Pero,
bothering to
sa
do anything
aking
with him.
Paningin, at ito'y akin lamang, hindi ito'y batas niya sabi ko, ay doon muna siya mananatili sa Bureau of Immigration Detention Facility.
Like, see, he's just being a fucking retard. Like, I'll wear my hat inside. They're like, no, you can't do that. And allegedly, at one point in this, when he's talking with them, he leans over and he's like, it's just a prank, bro. It's like, nobody fucking cares, man. When you are in a foreign country, do not act like a fucking retard. It's not hard. It's a pretty easy standard to do. Just don't act like Ricky Retardo. And that's the thing. And as much as I like to say, I don't like seeing people go to prison. Maybe Johnny and Vitaly going to prison means people won't fuck around in foreign countries. But you notice they do it in places that aren't dangerous. They aren't doing this in Laos. They aren't doing this in Singapore. Like, these guys in Singapore would be getting caned and severely, like, corporal punishment for all kinds of things. No, I mean, I guess it's good these guys are going to get dealt with. It's just, it's sad that it's got to happen this way. It's sad it came to this. So, it's sad that it came to this. Yes, it's a prank, bro. It's a fake gun. Yeah. Yeah, imagine trying this shit in China. Don't do it in Dubai either. Well, at some point, somebody's going to do it. At some point, somebody's going to do it here. One old guy's opinion says for $5, but here in the USA, visa holders have to act like fools. Well, remember, South Korea, you don't need a visa. In the Philippines, you don't need a visa. We have special relationships with the Philippines. Because us in America, I mean, Philippines used to be an American colony. And throughout the Cold War, America used to have tons of military personnel there. We had a very tight relationship. And we are, Subic Bay is getting restaffed. We have military forces redeploying to like up to is it the northern island? Is it Luzon or is that the northernest one? Yes, Luzon is the big northern island in the Philippines. Like, we're putting, we've got those Tomahawk batteries. We reinvented the Glickums by putting them in containers in semi-truck trailers. But we have like VLS canisters that we placed on like ground-based Tomahawk batteries that are now in northern Philippines, and they can reach all the way across almost up to Beijing. Like, yes, we are re-increasing their presence there. Jimmy Carter was born in the Philippines, yeah. Mm-hmm. We're also besties because the Chinese keep trying to go after their islands. Yep. It's Lee says, every time I go there, I'm in and out of the airport in 10 minutes. Yep. We have a special relationship with them. K-Murph says, I think Vitaly is a Russian national. Well, that would be even funnier because if he gets, he's here as a green card resident in the United States. He's a permanent resident, I presume, because he's been here forever. He would get sent back to the United States, and I wonder then if they revoke his green card and kick him out, he has to go back to Russia, and then he has to go fucking avoid Ukrainian drones. That would be fucking hilarious. Oh my God, I would fucking laugh if that was real. So, that is the thing. I think you're certain you need a visa for South Korea. I didn't know I don't think you need to if you're an American, but I'll ask Mindset. So, yeah, he's a Russian national. Oh, buddy, that's going to be even worse. Yes, FPV Vitaly. Yes, not IRL Vitaly, but FPV Vitaly. As much as I don't like the Ukrainians, I'm like, I'll let you guys drone the shit out of him, and I'll clap along with you. Spet says, I think it's funny because it says the Phil Air Force on their planes. That is pretty funny. So, chat, when you go around the world, don't be a tard. Please don't be a tard. It's not a good idea. It's not a good idea. Let me see here. Okay. We've got, what else we got here? Okay. So moving on from there, chat, speaking of people acting like retards, hold on here. Why did that go away? We have, Taylor Schaubusiness. If you guys remember her, she killed her boyfriend, put his head in the crock pot. You're like, did she eat it? I don't know if that was ever confirmed or not, but she was famous in her trial for Cheesy Chili Cheese J says the prisons that Kino Casino were showing last night were rough. Oh, I'm sure they were. I'm sure they were awful. So, as this goes on, though, Taylor Schaubusiness was known. She attacked her attorney, and it was very famous when it happened. And she didn't even really attack him. She just went like, "Ree!" and started. I think she was pretending to be crazy. So, and yes, this is. I know Jeff never wanted to admit it, but I think this was his secret waifu. I really think Jeff wanted this to be his wife. He was like, when she goes to prison, I'm going to write her. He's like, I'm going to prison husband her. I'll be her prison husband. I really think Jeff wanted her. So as much as he would deny it, I think he did. So Taylor Schaubusiness was in court again recently. And yeah, well, we're going to go. We'll talk about it. So she comes in, she sits down. And as things happen, her attorney shows up. And they have their hearing, they're going along, blah, 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 blah. They're dealing with some issues in court here. And as we get to the end.
If I can have him.
Sure.
And Judge, it sounds like just one witness. We're asking for sequestration, but that may be a moot point.
All right.
It is one witness, Your Honor.
We're off the record.
And that's the problem. Once you've done this before. Oh, by the way, chat, remember use a Court TV because Court TV showed that love before. Notice, as this happened, you can see her starting to look. But once you do this, it's like running a trick play. You can only run a trick play one time, and then everybody knows you run a trick play. So as Taylor Schaubusiness gets up, notice what the cops who are there do. They just like fucking check her right into the ground. Watch her as she gets up. The attorney's talking. He's trying to address his matters. Look at this. Boom! That one deputy is just strong-arming her. Just stiff-arming her. Just bow! Right onto the ground. It's the problem is Taylor's not being serious about it. She's not really attacking. She's kind of lazy about it, half-assing it. And he just shows up and just skadoosh right into the ground. Boom! She hit the ground hard. And it'd have been funnier, those chairs were over there. She could have cracked her head open on those. As it starts happening, her attorney's like, oh, he looks at the prosecutor, he's like, bro, I'm appointed. What the fuck you want me to do here? He's like, I don't know. And he looks at the judge. He's just like, oh my God. He's like, I'm gonna be on fuck. Like, I know what he's thinking right now. He's like, son of a bitch, I'm gonna be on TV. Everyone's gonna see it. My mom's gonna be like, oh my God, you were on TV. I'm so proud of you. You know, I got to tell all my friends at the nursing home that my son, the lawyer, he's on TV with that crazy lady. It's like, the guy's like, I don't need this shit. I don't need this right now. It's like, fuck working for the public defender. The retirement's not worth it right now. And he just goes on and looks, and he's just like, God almighty. I hope he's thinking like, I hope they tase the shit out of her. So there you go. That is, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead just a second. He gives the I give up look. Yeah. I'm sure she's an idiot. Is he a PD? I don't know. He's a public defender, court appointed. It's not like Taylor can afford her own attorneys. Yeah, this is great. He's like, well, that takes care of that. Eventually, they're going to bring her in a wheelchair with a face shield on. I think so. I think that's the next step, probably. I'm sure they'll just put the taser thing on her, which will be hilarious because they'll have the taser chains on her, and then they'll fucking tase her. That'll be great. So, yes, Ag says, hey, Green Bay Packers, hire that guy. Yes. And the lawyer's priceless, yes. Yeah, but that's how that goes, chat. That is a thing they're dealing with. Yeah, they have the belt with the tasers built into it. Yeah, they also have the anklets for it. So they have all kinds of taser stuff that I'm sure she'll get the next time. So it's a problem, chat. When you guys run you run a trick play, you can't run a trick play forever. Eventually, people find out about it, and then you're kind of fucked. So just that's a free tip. That's a free tip. Hold on here. Why is this not? That's not working. I'll worry about that later. Okay. So we're down to two separate things here. So we're going to move on to the updates in the Trump legal sagas that are enthralling this nation. First of all, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit did tell, and this is one of the cases, it's the state of Maryland versus the USDA, the United States Department of Agriculture. And notice all the other cabinet agencies and organizations that are listed here. You're like, wow, this is a big old wall of text. You're like, yeah, well, that's everybody here being sued. And what is this about here? Well, this is about the motion to stay appeal about all the states suing 19 states, including the District of Columbia. They sued 41 federal executive departments. And what are they doing? Well, they're alleging the government violated federal law when it terminated thousands of probationary federal employees without following the procedures for a reduction of force, also known as an RIF, people getting riffed, including advance notice to the affected states. So they were asking for that to be stayed. There was a preliminary injunction that the district court had filed. And having reviewed all of this, they are entering a stay. And they think the government's likely to succeed in showing the court lacked jurisdiction on the claims. And the government is unlikely to recover the funds from the probationary employees, meaning if we pay them, we're not going to be able to get the money back. And they talk about the Supreme Court also stayed another preliminary injunction out of the Northern District of California. So therefore, they stay the preliminary injunction pending this appeal. So for right now, it's being stayed. The clerk will set an expedited briefing schedule. And here's the funny thing: if they're pointing out the government's likely to succeed in showing the district court like jurisdiction, it's kind of their hint of saying we think if there's no jurisdiction, there's no case. So while this is being set for appeal, it's probably going to fall apart, and it sounds like the government will win. We don't know for sure though, but it has been done. So that is a thing there. So if you're, supporting Trump in this, firing everybody, well, that's some good news. Now, moving on to the other thing that came out, and this is something that we had mentioned previously and talked about here. This is the case of Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia. Now, if you guys remember him, he is the guy from El Salvador. He came to America illegally, had been involved, had a deportation order that had been in existence for many years. He then, in 2019, filed for asylum, way past the dates and times applicable for it. So a court granted him a prohibition on being removed. Not that it accepted his asylum claims or the claims of torture, but that a court had said, you can't remove this guy. Well, what happened to Armando Abreu Garcia? Well, he got sent to El Salvador. He got sent back. He got afuera'd, despite that order. So the Supreme Court and received their information, and it was referred to John Roberts, and he referred it to the entire court. So on March 15th, he was sent to El Salvador, where he's currently detained in the Center for Terrorism Confinement, CCOT. The government did acknowledge in its things that he was subject to a withholding order forbidding his removal to El Salvador, and that the removal of El Salvador was illegal because the court said you can't do that. Well, the Department of Homeland Security said, and ICE said, that it was an administrative error. The United States alleges, however, that he had been found to be a member of MS-13. That was found during some of his immigration hearings, but it was never done as a specific fact. Regardless, he was going to get deported anyway because he was here unlawfully. He had no reason to be here. And the asylum stuff was going to be bullshit, but until it had been decided, there was nothing else they could do. They point out that the government claims he was a threat to the public. He claims that he is not a member of MS-13 and that he's lived safely in the United States with his family for a decade and has never been charged with a crime. Remember, not being charged with a crime doesn't mean you're not a bad guy. The government says that all the time. So on April 4th, the judge for the District of Maryland entered an order directing the government to facilitate and effectuate the return of him to the United States by no later than midnight on April 7th. And on the morning of the April 7th, the United States filed this application to vacate the order, and the Chief Justice entered a stay. Now, here's the thing, and here's where we get to it. The application is granted in part and denied in part. And they say, due to the administrative stay issued by the Chief Justice, John Roberts, because remember, he is in charge of the Fourth Circuit. It came to him. The deadline for the district court has now passed, so part of it is moot. So they're saying to that extent, the government's emergency application is effectively granted in part, and the deadline is no longer effective. And that's true. The deadline's done. The rest of the district court order remains in effect, but it requires clarification on remand, meaning we're going to send it back down. We're not vacating it. We're not saying the court can't do it, but we have questions. It's not fully been fleshed out. There are some things you need to figure out down there. So what happened? So what happened here? They say the order properly requires the government to facilitate the release from custody and to ensure his case is handled as it would have been had he not been improperly sent to El Salvador. Okay. The intended scope of the term effectuate in the district court's order is, however, unclear and may exceed the district court's authority. Now they're saying, and now that becomes an issue. Okay, so the government has to facilitate his release. Okay, well, what is exactly facilitating me? Because, like, they ask President Bukele, can you release him? And he says, no bueno. What do? Do you send Delta Force to go down and get this guy? What do you do if you can't get him? Well, it's a problem. What do you do with that? And now effectuating it. Yeah, how do you make it happen? How do you make it actually happen? That's not clear. Now they point out, and this is where they're kind of warning the court, though, this may exceed the district court's authority. So they're telling the court, you need to be very careful here. But they do agree that he should not have been deported until that issue had been sorted out. Even though it was an invalid order and it was an illegally granted protection, an illegally granted with removal order, they're saying you still should have addressed it in court. Let me see here. Yes, he claimed that there was gang intimidation and that his mom makes like crunch wrap their pupusas, which sound basically like just very like ghetto crunch wraps in what they are. And apparently the gang members were encroaching on the crunch wrap supreme trade down in El Salvador, and they were like, ay, los míos, we need to run away. So they ran away to America and kept making crunch wraps or something. I don't really care. So they say the district court, to clarify it, with due regard for the deference owed to the executive branch in conducting foreign affairs. For its part, the government should be prepared to show what it can concerning the steps it has taken and the prospect of further steps. So this is their way of saying, government, you should probably at least tell them what you're trying to do or what you can do. And both sides are getting warned here a little bit. The order by the Chief Justice hereby vacated. Now, even though this is 9-0, notice this is 9-0. This is a 9-0 thing here. Okay. But notice you have some other things down here. You have a statement, not a concurrent, not a dissent, a statement of Justice Sotomayor and Justice Kagan and Justice Jackson. So notice already, chat, this part here is 9-0. This is 9-0. This is not a dissent or a concurrence, so we don't know what the rest of the 6 are. We just know there's 3 making the statement, but maybe it's all 9. Maybe it's only a handful. We don't actually know this right now. So they say the United States government arrested him and flew him to a terrorism confinement center in El Salvador, where he has been detained for 26 days and counting. To this day, the government has cited no basis in law for his warrantless arrest and removal to El Salvador or his confinement in a Salvadoran prison. Nor could it. The government remains bound by the immigration judge's 2019 order prohibiting his removal to El Salvador because he faced a clear probability of future persecution. But he doesn't because the government put all the bad guys in jail. And he demonstrated that El Salvador's authorities were and would be unable or unwilling to protect him. I don't think that's true anymore. The government has not challenged the validity of that order, and that's the issue. They haven't challenged the validity of the order, so he's got to come back. So they said it instead of hastening to correct its error, the government has dismissed it as an oversight. Well, to be fair, it is. He's going to it'll get dismissed, overturned, and then he gets afuera'd. So the government now requests an order from the court permitting it to leave him, a husband and a father without a criminal record. It doesn't matter. He had a removal order. Like, you're glossing over that part. In a Salvadoran prison for no reason recognized by law. Well, he got afuera'd. He was told to leave, and then he filed a bullshit asylum claim. The only argument the government offers in support is that the U.S. court can grant relief once a deportee crosses the border is plainly wrong. And that is true because you have Rumsfeld v. Padilla, you have Boumediene v. Bush, chat, Padilla, Boumediene, Hamdi, Hamdan. Those are all GWAT cases from the global war on terror dealing with people who were either being renditioned, sent to Guantanamo, or enemy combatants in various states and situations, which set out how you deal with people when there's international things going on and who is entitled and what rights they are entitled to receive based upon their status. Now, the government's argument more implies that it could deport and incarcerate any person, including U.S. citizens, without legal consequence so long as it does so before a court can intervene. I mean, that view refutes itself. I mean, yes, the government can do all kinds of shit. The government can kill you with a fucking drone, and there's literally nothing a court can do to stop that. I mean, that's the neat part about Anwar al-Awlaki. It got leaked to the New York Times months before that happened, and there was nothing legally that could be done to stop it, that he was on the White House's kill list. So the government can do a lot of shit to you, and they already support it. And they say because every factor request for equitable relief manifestly weighs against the government, I would have declined to intervene in this litigation and denied the application in full. Yeah, but I think it's actually pretty important the Supreme Court telegraphs, we're not going to let you do this shit. What you did is not right. Because that's their way of saying it now, 9-0, we don't support this. this was bullshit what you did, Trump. Don't do it again. Just like they did with JGG, the JGG case. We talked about that earlier this week. The Supreme Court told Trump, this is bullshit. Do not do it again. So all 9 justices agreed that there has to be some sort of judicial hearing in front of who knows exactly what or how you would handle that habeas hearing, that everybody is entitled to some sort of due process there. So the Supreme Court has kind of telegraphed this, and it's actually important, I think, because it's heading off a lot of issues of the past. And then she says, nevertheless, I agree with the court's order. The proper remedy is to provide him with all the process which he would have been entitled had he not been removed. That means the government must comply with its obligations to provide him with due process of law, including notice and opportunity to be heard in any future proceedings. It also must comply with the Convention Against Torture, which is something the U.S. is a signatory to. And they talk about this. They say federal law governing detention and removal is binding as well. And she goes through all of this, and she says, in the proceedings on remand, the district court should continue to ensure the government listens to its obligation to follow the law. And that was her statement. Remember, that's a statement. It's not a concurrence. It's not a anything. It's literally just a statement. So that happened there. So what does that mean, chat? Well, once again, it's just like the JGG thing. There. Yes, Robin, you're right. I'm not scared of the government. They'll just at things. So there we go. But I think the Supreme Court's got a great point of like, you better, as they said to this judge up here, you better fucking figure out what you're trying to get at, buddy. Because it's not clear. What does this actually mean? What are you going to do? This is not clear. You should figure it out. So I think the point is going forward, once again, like the JGG case, you've got to do it the right way, but we can't do anything about this guy down there. So that's what I think is the ultimate issue at hand for that case. But I think it's critical. Once again, people are saying it's a big win for the Trump administration. No, this one and JGG have been pretty big setbacks. But at least the Supreme Court has telegraphed and said what they demand and what they require through these individual cases. Julia says, how do you have a statement that isn't a concurrence or a dissent? Because she's a Supreme Court justice, they can't really stop her. That's how. That's how. That's how that works. That's how that works. So I know you guys were like, well, wait. And I'm like, that's how it works. She can do whatever she wants. One old guy's opinion says, was his claim granted? No, his asylum claim was not granted. But the judge did place a holder out there. And that's the thing. He had a holder. There was a removal order that was put in place. So because there's a removal order put in place, the argument is they have to address that non-removal order, saying he can't go back to El Salvador. Well, they didn't take care of that. So the problem is they had to address it. So thank you again, One Old Guy's Opinions. I do appreciate the support and the super chat. Thank you. So once they get through it and they can go through a judge and say, the judge could look at it and say, yeah, that's bullshit. Afuera his ass with the underlying order. They could have done that. They could have 100% done that. But they didn't do it the right way. Now, for the final thing tonight, we're going to be talking about what happened out in... we're going to talk about what actually happened out in Florida. If you guys remember, this is something that popped up over the weekend. And it involves actually, it's a YouTube channel. And this is a guy who was out fishing in Florida. It's the channel 6'4 Fishing. This guy's got 10,000 subs. He's got 10K subs. His name is Gage. He's 22. He's been fishing in Southwest Florida his entire life. Fishing is his hobby, and he wanted to show you guys the adrenaline rush he gets from fishing, which you're like, That's pretty fucking cool. You guys have some question here. I'll get to these in a second. Actually, hold on. We'll address these right now. Actually, hold on. Seriate says, could they get him out of El Salvador and then dump him in Mexico? Technically, yeah. He just can't be sent back to El Salvador. It's like, all right, fine. Have fun in Honduras. Or drop him off at Tierra del Fuego at the bottom of Argentina. Adios. Jim, thank you, Jim. Jim is saying Bukele has already said he's guilty of crimes in El Salvador. Was sentenced to 20 years. Well, womp, womp, womp. Nothing you can do about that. And one old guy's opinion says, show me the immigration court documents. There are a bunch of them out there. If you go to Will Chamberlain on Twitter, he highlighted a bunch of the stuff that's out there showing the documents where the immigration judge said, just can't send them back to El Salvador. There's a hold on them. They're out there. We covered them, I think last week when I had to, came in and I admitted I got taken for a ride and bought into all the bullshit about this guy. So they are out there. So, but thank you for the $2 as well. Neo Dark Matter saying, was the 20 years the reason why he claimed asylum? No, he was going to be tortured by the gangs and all that stuff is why he did. Amon Reza said he can't be trusted. Yeah, but the documents are correct. They're all from immigration court. So they're pulled off there. Nobody said that they've been bullshit. So it's I assume they're true. Nobody's contradicted it. So guys, we're going to move on here back to this fishing thing. This is kind of our final story of the night. Anyways, guys, if you want to help him out, it's Gage at 6'4 Fishing. He seems like a nice guy, just likes to go out and fish and have fun. Well, this is him. He was out fishing out on April a couple days or last week. He's out fishing near Port Charlotte over on the Gulf Coast of Florida. And as he's fishing, he runs into an asshole. Robin Fox, no, not on Discord. Hold on here. Let me see here. I'll bring up Will Chamberlain. He is an attorney. He's senior counsel for a couple different organizations. Where is let me see here. Where is this thing here? Trying to find the things for him. Because I'm going to give you guys an actual link to what he talked about here. So here, this is a great place to start if you guys are looking for it. Wow, it's a long thread here. It's a long thread, chat. I'm going to put it in chat so you guys can see it. This is the thing here. Will Chamberlain's. This is the Twitter thread he started where it shows all the documents. So, Robin Fox, if you go down there, it's Will Chamberlain. If you see it down here, I just put it in the thing. If you look for him, it's Will Chamberlain, and it started on April Fool's Day. So if you guys look on April 1st, that's where you go. And start with all that stuff. So moving back to this thing here, chat. Moving back to this. So Gage was out fishing, and he ran into an asshole on a charter boat. And listen to how this started going.
The other morning?
What, like 5 in the morning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Busting me out?
Nah, that was the dude in that boat.
So notice, listen, this guy in this other boat that comes on the screen, he says, were you out here at 5 in the morning? Gage says, yeah. And this guy says, were you cussing me out? And Gage says, no, that wasn't me. It was another guy. Now, listen as this goes from here, chat.
Busting me out?
Nah, that was the dude in that boat. Were you the one that came through the middle of the bridge? Was that you?
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, I was here, but you ran in front of the other dude over there.
Notice he's saying, I was here, but you upset the other guy. I didn't say shit to you. Notice he's saying, you pissed off the other guy, not me.
You were cussing me out, dude.
Bro, you ran right through the middle of the bridge while we were all fishing.
Notice he says, no, you were cussing me out. And the guy's like, no, it wasn't me.
In the middle of the fucking night, the guy didn't have any lights on.
Bro, we were all fishing here.
He didn't have any lights on.
All right, bro. I'm not gonna do this with you, bro. I'm not gonna fucking do this with you, bro. Like, it's not the right time, bro.
You want the lost?
Bro.
Notice he's just saying, I'm not gonna fight with you. I'm gonna just go back to fishing. And this guy who's standing here rubbing his hands together because he's a little cunt, you're gonna find out a lot more about him. Here we go.
Bro, you can't come flying through the middle of the fucking bridge, bro.
Oh shit! Yes, I can.
All right, bro. All right, bro. What are you trying to do, bro?
What am I trying?
What are you trying to do, bro?
You want to fucking go?
I don't want to fucking go. I want you to get the fuck out of here.
Big tough guy?
Tough guy? You pulled up on me, motherfucker.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do about it?
Nah, shit. I'm fishing, you fucking... Like, bro, get out of here.
No, this guy's like, leave me alone. Go be a faggot somewhere else.
Like, what? What are you trying to do? Act like a tough guy in front of your buddies?
No, I'm not. Dude, all these motherfuckers know I'm tough, motherfucker.
Bro, all right, bro.
You know what?
Get going, bro.
We're all fucking war veterans. We're all Rangers.
Well, thank you for...
We're all war veterans. We're all Rangers. Okay. Like, ooh, wow.
For your service, bro.
And you're gonna talk shit.
Thank you for your service, bro. But that doesn't give you the right.
Pussy ass fuck.
All right, bro. All right.
Yes, he talks about being a pussy ass fuck. His name's Brock. He's a professional pussy ass fuck.
Whatever. I appreciate you for your service, bro. But you don't got to run through the middle of the bridge, bro.
Dude, if your guy doesn't have his fucking lights
That's
on,
not my guy, bro. That's just another fucking dude, bro.
you have to have lights on.
My lights were on, bro. My lights were on.
Hits you, guess what the fuck happens? You die, nothing happens to me.
Right. Okay, bro. Keep thinking that.
No, that's the fucking truth, dude.
All right, bro. Keep thinking that.
Put your fucking lights on.
He just said his lights were on, and this guy doesn't realize, like, he just can't fucking go home and beat his wife or whatever it is he does to unwind at night. I mean, imagine this guy if his wife burned dinner for him, or maybe he's gay. I don't know. When his husband burns dinner, imagine what happens if you burn dinner for him, or like if you're like one of his children is drawing a picture and they accidentally color off the edge of the paper. God, imagine what happens there. Imagine what happens.
Bro, my lights were on. I wasn't sitting there. Okay, that's not my dude, bro. Bro, I said, bro, you almost fucking hit him. The other dude was fucking cussing you out.
I almost hit him because he didn't have his motherfucking lights on.
So notice he acknowledges they're talking about someone else. So he's like, okay, it must not be you. I'm going to go. Have a great day. No. This guy wants to fight over a third party. That's how retarded this is. That's how retarded this is right now. He's fighting over a third fucking party. And it gets only better from here, you guys. If you haven't seen this gets really retarded.
Bro, you shouldn't come flying through the middle of the bridge. You know people fish here, bro. I'm sorry, man. I don't know if that's what you want to hear, bro.
Yeah, you should apologize, motherfucker.
But, bro.
He's like, you should apologize. But he didn't do anything wrong.
More than you can possibly fathom in your wild motherfucking dream.
Me too, bro. I'm out here all the time, bro.
I'm 300 days a year on the motherfucking water.
All right, bro.
Every day, I'm the best charter captain you will ever meet in your motherfucking life.
All right, bro.
And now we apparently want to take this into real fucking life. Now we want to take this into real fucking life. You're about to see felony activity occur. And we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Chill, bro. Chill, bro. Please, bro.
Don't hit the fucking mouth.
Please, okay, please, bro. Please, bro. Please, bro. Bro, I'm a kid, bro. Please.
Apologize.
Oh, I'm sorry, bro.
Listen to this faggot trying to apologize to me. I wish he had a gun and shot him in the fucking face. I wish he repelled the borders.
Sorry, bro.
You're gonna cuss me the fuck out.
All right, bro.
In the middle of the
No, bro. Please, bro. Please, bro. Okay. Please.
Fucking apologize.
I'm sorry, bro. That was not me, bro.
Yes, it was.
I know I was here.
He just said it wasn't like, listen to him. Like I said, guys, imagine if you burned his dinner, how mad he would get. Or if you accidentally colored off the edge of the paper. Or if your macaroni picture, the macaroni didn't stick to it. Imagine how mad he gets. Imagine how mad he gets, like, just about every little fucking thing in life.
Here, but my buddy was on the boat. Yes, sir. I'm a kid, bro. Please, bro.
I don't care. You don't cuss me the fuck out.
All right.
Talk shit to me, motherfucker.
Yes, sir.
You don't do it.
I'm sorry, man. I wasn't like cussing you out,
Yes,
though, bro.
you were, dude.
I was driving the boat.
Did
Okay.
you not call me a fucking faggot?
No, bro.
Yes,
that was
you did,
my friend on the. Okay, I'm sorry, bro.
That was your friend on the boat.
I'm sorry, bro.
Your motherfucking friend. I'll look at it and come
Yes,
on your
sir.
phone and fuck you both up.
Yes, sir.
Do it again and watch what fucking happens.
Get back on this boat.
I'll say it right now, Brock Horner, you're a fucking faggot. I hope you're watching this. You're a fucking faggot.
Don't fucking do it again.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry, bro. Like, I appreciate y'all, bro. I'm sorry, bro.
Fuck with the wrong motherfucker, man.
Bro, yes, sir.
So there you go. His name is Brock Horner. He's a charter boat captain. Well, yeah, he got felony charges out of that. And you're like, wow, how does that work? How does that work? Well, he was booked on a burglary charge, second-degree felony burglary. Yes, chat. Second-degree felony burglary. Yeah, how does that work? Well, yeah, he's got a lot of problems. He's got a lot of problems right now, chat. And if you go through it, you can go through his court case here. And this is him. This is him, Brock Thomas Horner. Look at him, all brave, and, you know, he's the man. He's the man, chat. Hold on one second. Look at him. Oh, I'm sure he's like, oh my God, I fucked up now. And he's got felony charges. His case has been assigned, and we're kind of waiting to see what happens. We're waiting to see what happens. But notice this, chat. Oh, what is this? What's this? Uh-oh. What do we have here? Oh, no, chat. A habitual felony offender status. He has problems? No way. Imagine that. But let's see this booking picture up here, you guys. Huh? Look at that booking picture. Look at this booking picture. Look at him. Oh, we can't see it. We can't get in our own little way here. But look at this, chat. Look at this guy's booking picture. Look at that with his glasses on. You know, he's got the nice suntan going. Yeah, imagine my shock. Imagine my shock. Well, what has happened to him in the meantime? Well, he's got that felony charge. His business has kind of been driven into the ground because of everything here. And yeah, it's only getting better. It's only better. He has and it's funny because when you fuck up so bad, that there's a joint press release from the police, the Fish and Wildlife Police, and the fucking Coast Guard issue a joint press release because of how bad you fucked up. How bad you fucked up as a human being. That everybody's just like, we're just going to do this together. We're going to tell everybody how big of a Ricky Retardo he is. So what did he do? So he has been charged under Florida Statute 810.02. Burglary with assault or battery and non-forced entry. Okay, well, what does that actually mean? Well, how does that work? You might be like, wait. In Florida, how is that burglary? Well, it is because when you look up the statute in Florida, it says burglary and trespass. And this is where it gets interesting. Remember, chat, every state is different. So it says burglary. And the first part under 1A says on or before July 1st, 2001. Well, that's not us. So B, for offenses committed after July 1st, burglary means, it can mean these things here. The entering a dwelling structure or a conveyance, that's going to be critical, with the intent to commit offense therein, unless the premises at the time are open to the public, or the defendant is licensed, meaning they're allowed to be there. It's like you have license, like a lease, or you have privileges to be there, or you're invited to enter. Okay. So what does that mean? Those things here. And we're going to get to a little more of this here. So it says, notwithstanding a license or invited entry, you're remaining in a dwelling, structure, or conveyance, and you surreptitiously do so with the intent to commit offense therein, or after your permission to remain there has been withdrawn. So you can initially be, for example, you could be invited to a friend's house, but if they revoke your invite to be there and they say you're no longer welcome, you're now trespassing. And if you're trespassing in a structure and you commit a crime, guess what? That could be burglary. So you attempt to commit a forcible felony. Well, he doesn't have that here. So is he getting a burglary as a first-degree felony? No. But it's not to be punishable by a term of imprisonment for a year, is not exceeding life. Okay. But he's not being charged a first-degree felony. He's being charged a second-degree felony. So it's a second-degree felony, and he faced up to 15 years for this. And why is this done this way? If in the course of committing the offense, he does not make an assault or battery and does not become armed with a dangerous weapon, but he does remain in a conveyance, and there's another person in the conveyance at the time he enters or remains. Okay. Well, what's a conveyance? What's a conveyance? Well, that's why you go to chat. And we're going to do this is how you do it. You go to definitions. So for chapter 810 of the Florida statutes, well, what are the definitions for burglary? Okay, well, this is important. It tells you what a structure is. Okay. Dwelling, cool. Conveyance. Whoa, buddy, what is a conveyance? What is a conveyance here, chat? Well, a conveyance can be a lot of things. So here are the definitions. Ooh, that's not good. We'll just print that back up. There we go. So you go to like, well, I need the definitions. So you look up your definitions. All right. So a structure, we know what that means. We know what a dwelling is. But what's a conveyance? Uh-oh. A conveyance means any motor vehicle, ship, vessel. Uh-oh. That's not good. That's not good. Still a guy's fishing boat. Yes. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Yeah. Patty's like, yes, the sovereign citizens were right all along. Yes. Yeah, this is not good. This is not good. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy, chat. Yes, railroad vehicles. Yes, I know. We're not talking about trains today. But there we go. You know, at this moment, he didn't even realize it. But here's the thing. He got so fucking upset. I have to show him. I'll show him. Roar. And guess what happened? Now he's got a fucking felony charge. Felony burglary. Imagine when he's getting cornholed out in a shower in a prison somewhere in Florida because they're like, you committed burglary. What happened? I jumped on a boat and harassed a 22-year-old kid because I have a little dick is what he's going to have to say. And they're going to be like, oh, interesting. Face the wall. Yeah, imagine that. Imagine that. That's why you're facing going to fucking prison, because you hopped onto someone's boat to have a fucking argument. So fucking retarded. Did he have that Dutch courage? I don't know if he was drinking. I don't think he was drinking. I think he's just a guy with a little dick. I just think that's what it is. I don't, as you guys are studying Mutt's Law. Well, what do you think happens in prison to somebody like him? This guy's going to be made somebody's bitch right off the bat. Yes, short-tempered with an even shorter dick. Yep. And then as people did investigations into him, They found out he wasn't really a ranger, but he was attached to a ranger unit and did human resources stuff. It was like a human resources analyst. So he's like, I'm a vet. It's like, yeah, you used Excel and, did spreadsheets. So, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, he's an HR Karen. So, yeah. So be really fucking careful when you fuck around out there, chat. It doesn't take much. Amplified Signal says throw your tackle box at him in self-defense. Yeah, that could be a thing. That would be a good idea there. But yeah, you got to be careful. So, yes, that guy was basically the Navy SEAL copy pasta in real life. It pretty much was. That's the funny part. Yeah, it's so stupid. Just taking a half a second. I mean, he probably didn't realize that's a felony. And now he's it's just imagine that. You probably are going to prison over fucking fishing. And it's not like the cheater fisherman thing that I covered up here over in Cleveland. Literally, he got into trouble because he was probably driving his boat like an asshole at 5 a.m. and he just couldn't let it go that someone called him out for it. I mean, you guys have to be able, if you can't, if somebody yells at you like that, just fucking ignore him. He's some other asshole on a boat. If you think you're right, that's all that matters. You're never going to see him again. Just go about your day. This guy had to go for a fight. Just let shit go. You have to learn how to let shit go. Remember, I've mentioned this before. If you get in a fight with somebody, are you you're in a bar and you get in a fight with a guy? Are you prepared to go to prison for this? Are you prepared to be a felon for the rest of your life because of this bar fight? If the answer is no, and it should be no, don't do it. If you ask this guy, you could stop him. If you asked him now, hey, Brock, do you think this is a good idea? He'd be like, I wish I would never get on that fucking boat. I wish I would have just driven home and fucking ignored him. Probably should have done that. So, yes, watch the Boondocks Nibba moment clip. You're white. You could just walk away from things. Yeah, you can just walk away. Take your boat and go fucking tarpon fish or something. You're in the Gulf on a nice boat. Just go have some road pops and fish, man. Why do you have to fucking fight about it? Yeah, I'm sure he's still seething. I'm sure ultimately at the end of the day, he's probably but they were in the wrong place. They didn't have their lights on. It's bro, you're really you just let it go. Just let it go. Oh. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. There's just so many other ways. He could have went and had a beer. Yep, he could have done things. He could have went and had a stripper or picked up a hooker and beat a hooker. Any number of things he could have done. Just he had to go commit a felony on camera. So, yeah. Habitual offender, what else is in his file? I don't know, but it's interesting. He's got problems. He's got some problems. So, yes, and this is true, Zexarian. Most crimes are dumb, spur-of-the-moment decisions. People making very impulsive decisions. It's very true. Very true. Now, I'm not sure this guy's a good guy, but I think a lot of times most crimes are committed by good people who make boneheaded decisions. I don't think this guy's a good guy. I think he's probably a shit human being, but the shit human being was very impulsive. So, yes, he had been charged for choking his girlfriend, and he's had a couple of DUIs. Yeah. So, I know he's truly a winner. He's truly a winner in all measurements. So, So with that said, chat, we got some super chats and comments to get through, so we're going to catch up on those. But yeah, just let shit slide. You don't have to fight everybody all the time. It's kind of like a shot caller. Guys, are you going to kick it off with every buster that walks in here? If you kick it off with everybody you run into, gives you shit, man. Gonna be fighting everybody. Chugi Show says, all hail Clyde. Yes, he's such a good boy. Debbie O says, whoa, someone is reporting that the Siemens CEO and his family died in the helo crash in New York. Yeah, that is trippy. You can see that Jet Ranger just nosediving into the Hudson. And it's weird because it doesn't have a tail rotor, and the entire upper assembly is missing off the helicopter. So it's not just the Jesus nut, but like part of the transmission is like sheared off. So I don't know what the hell they hit. Because where that was at, there was there's not a whole lot of other things in the way. It's very confusing. Let me see here, Chet. I'll bring it up so we can take a look at it. Let's see here. It is let me see if I could find it here. Yeah. So if you guys have not seen this picture yet, there is a helicopter crashed out in downtown New York City into the river. This is a Bell helicopter, and this is the upper assembly off of it going separately from it. So this is, I think it's basically a variation of a, I think it's a Bell 206. It's a little bigger, from what I could tell. So it's some variation of this. It's not a Boeing helicopter. Well, yeah. But it's a variation of this. It's a Bell helicopter. You can tell it looks very similar to that one. It's a bit bigger, though. And yeah, the 206s have tail boom issues. Yeah, and it's got its tail rotor. But from here, chat, you can see this is a very similar aircraft. You know, it's a very similar aircraft. I think it's a bit of a bigger version of it. So did someone forget to tighten a couple of bolts? No, because this is an entire housing, an entire parts. And you can see that would have sat like right here. And then the tail rotor would have gone up and it would have been like that. So is it a tail spin because the tail came off? Yeah, no, it wouldn't have done that. It wouldn't have been like that. It wouldn't have been that bad. If you lose the tail rotor in a helicopter, you kind of start spinning around, but the top doesn't come off. You don't lose your main rotor. You don't lose them like that. That's just really hard. Like that's not how that works. It's not at all how that goes. So it's more than just the rotors falling off. Yeah, some of you guys are saying it's a 206 Max. It could also be like maybe it's a Long Ranger. I don't know what it is. It's one of them, but anyways, it's some derivation of the Bell 206. One of the super proliferated helicopters in the United States for civilian aviation. So anyways, it fell off. There's video of it, and it just goes into the drink, and it drops like a rock. It's just, if you guys haven't seen it, we'll look at it real quick. It's great that it happened in like New York City because everybody's watching, but you know, I wonder if anybody else has video of it because we only have the last couple of seconds of the crash. And I love that I typed in helicopter and the first thing up is Mrs. Dick helicopter. It's like, okay, thank you. So, okay, yeah, somebody else thinks it's a 206 Long Ranger. Okay. So, this is it. This is it falling. Somebody filmed it because you're in New York City. You know, you're in New York City. Yeah. That's like hitting concrete because that entire thing collapsed. That airframe, they're all dead. Thank God nobody survived that. They hit hard. Like, that's the one thing you could be fortunate for. They hit hard, and they probably didn't feel it. So, there's another angle. Really? What's the other angle here? I haven't seen. Let me see if there's another. I don't see it now. Okay. No, I don't see the other video chat. Oh, I see it now. Okay. Hold on here. Oh, Phil Holloway's got it. Okay, here we go. Going out like Kobe. No, Kobe was worse. Kobe was, they were in a hill, they were flying through the hills, and the pilot just right into a hillside. There was no, this is worse than Kobe. This is worse than Kobe. Because they probably didn't realize till it was too late that there was a crash. So anyways, this is Phil Holloway, guys. You know him. He's been on Laid Back Law and other things here. So let's go back to it. Okay. So this is the helicopter hitting the water right here. And then you can see the main rotor spinning. And it's still spinning. It's still spinning. Psh. Now, I don't think people are saying it's the Jesus nut. And the Jesus nut is an actual thing on top of the rotors. And if it falls off, only Jesus can save you. That's why it's called that. But the Jesus nut, chat, is this. This would be the Jesus nut right here. That's the Jesus nut on top of the helicopter. The rest of this, though, like you've got the transmission and gearbox and things in a helicopter. When you look at the other picture, you see all this. You see everything here. You see all this stuff. It's not just like the rotors are attached to something. This suffered some sort of structural failure, it looks like. I mean, there aren't power lines across the river at this point, so I don't know what hit. I don't know what it hit. Yeah. Was Kobe instant? I mean, yeah. Yeah, Kobe's was like, yeah, they hit a side of a mountain because there was poor visibility. They had a pilot who was not IFR rated flying in an IFR situation. So they lost their tail, yes. But losing the tail alone should not cause that. Losing the tail shouldn't have caused that information. So you're saying mass bumping? I mean, if depending on how they made a turn, yeah. I mean, like it could be. So yeah, it's a rotor where the rotor hub strikes the main rotor mast. I mean, it can be, but it's. I don't know if we're gonna know yet. It's, we're dealing with, that is like actual real, a concern about what actually happened with this thing. And we won't know. And the mass bumping issue, chat, is like here when you're dealing with all this stuff going on. The helicopters are actually very it's magic that keeps them flying. You can turn really hard and you can crash a helicopter. For example, this is more of a thing like, if you ever watch movies where there's a guy in a helicopter shooting at somebody, or like in Cliffhanger, for example, in reality, if you're in a helicopter and you got a bunch of shit on you that can fall out, you tie everything to yourself. This is like in a military situation. Like if you're doing helicopter operations, you tie things to your body, because imagine an M16 magazine or your gun flying out the helicopter and just going scoosh right into the tail rotor. Guess what happens? Bam! Tail rotor hits. You guys are dead. Like if you turn too hard, your tail rotors are now basically like this. That can be a problem. Depending you're going up or down, the rotors can chop and cut things. There's all kinds of stuff that could happen. But yeah, there's a structural, it was some sort of structural problem. Yeah, Bells are pretty durable. They're pretty safe helicopters overall. So yeah, Mad Reddick's right. Yes. The physics are simple, but it's very delicate. Yes. But I had a friend, guys in my fraternity end up flying helicopters. Went to Warren after school. I'm like, what's it like? He's like, helicopters are magic. Magic and money keeps them flying. So there you go. Helicopters are it's voodoo. It's voodoo. So yes, auto rotations where the rotors just keep spinning. Yes. So in a helicopter, if you're flying along and you lose power, that rotor keeps spinning, and it'll keep spinning. It's called auto rotating. Just like in an airplane, the propeller can keep spinning. Well, for the helicopter, as long as the rotor's spinning, you're generating lift. If the rotor stops spinning, like if you pull the rotor brake on a helicopter, you do this. If you auto rotate, you can basically land, and it's no big deal. So helicopters are death traps at times. Did I talk about Colorado yet? No, because I didn't know that was today, but I knew that was coming. But yes, Colorado passed a more gun laws and more gun bans. So yes, sadly, rip to everyone in Colorado. Yes, there are a million things that go wrong on a helicopter. So yeah, there's a frame or two you can see in the first video where the rotor blades are attached to the transmission. Yeah. And Squizgar is saying, wait, is that the bottom of the circle you drew that it's separated? Roughly, that bottom, that housing part on the bell. So yeah, some part of this is where it came apart. It looks like something way down here. Like this part, it looks like something came off. Because remember, you could see in this other picture, the rotors have some garbage hanging off it in the picture. So something in here, and this is like the engine for the helicopters back here, because this is the exhaust. This is part of the transmission where the power from the engine is transmitted to the gearbox, the transmission, and it goes up the rotor shaft to the rotors. And there the rotors generate lift. So, could it be a tail strike? I don't think so. We don't know. We don't know. I mean, who knows what they hit? So who knows what they hit? I mean, it's not a bird strike because a bird would not do this, and helicopter's not moving that fast for a bird to see it. I mean, they'd be able to see it, and yeah, I mean, that's not going to do all this damage. So we don't know, and we won't know for a while. They're going to have to pull it out of the water and examine it. So why was the tail missing? That's the thing. Who knows? It's a machine. And it's no different than if you have a Keurig or your microwave or your dishwasher. Machines break. And when they break, shit goes wrong. It's just when your washing machine breaks, it's not a big deal. You got to go get a new washer. When your helicopter falls apart, you fucking scream you auger into the water at 120 miles an hour and die. It's a very they're delicate machines. Helicopters are very delicate. They're more delicate than airplanes. They're very fragile. Who knows what happened? Something came loose. Maybe they did hit something. Although I don't think there's anything near there. We don't really know yet. We don't know yet. So, it's just kind of like what happened in DC. Like, it seems like everybody thought they were following the rules appropriately, and it turns out somebody wasn't. So, a lot of oopsie poopsies. But yes, could this be an issue with the A&P guys, the airframe and power plant people? Not keeping up on maintenance? Sure. Who knows? Or something just broke. I mean, that's the thing, too. Every once in a while, like, your wheel just falls off your car. Now, generally, there's a reason for it, but sometimes things just break. And sometimes you're just unlucky. So, who knows? Super Wiener has been a member for 13 months, says the Mail Hat. The Grand Wizard of the Amazon clan, perhaps. Yes. Well, addressing that, somebody over in Locals did send this. They did some AI work. I think Maddie B put this together. Thank you, Maddie. Thank you so much. And then some of the other stuff people put together. The potentially criminal action figure. This is one of the boxes. Comes with a Clyde, although that's not Clyde. I appreciate the effort. It's got a little train and a sandwich. Then there was another version of me as a action figure with a Chihuahua. But there we go. Not bad, not bad. I do like how they replicated the tie and everything. And I like that. I like that tie with the suit. It's a very good setup, if I do say so myself. So, but thank you, Super Wiener, for your support. I do appreciate it. Mr. Pyro has been a member for 4 months, and he says, Sean, when are we going to see the definitely not Kirsha photo? That's what you do after a VTuber collab, right? Well, no, you do that when you don't get your VTuber collab. But no, I had fun with Kirsha yesterday, covering the Brian Koberger stuff. Hopefully there's a little more fireworks. It's a little more like intense as we get into things. But I enjoyed it. Kirsha was awesome. I talked to her and she wants to do it again. So, but no, that was totally fun. Totally fun. Would do again, 10 out of 10. That's a shame, says every day is Harry Potter Day. God bless. It's like, oh God, no. No. It's not Harry Potter Day. Squizgar says, man, didn't know they made size 32 hats. Really though, like I have like my head's like 63 centimeters around. Like it's a big head. It's a big head. Dolly Talk says Snape killed Dumbledore. I thought Dumbledore died and they had to replace him between films anyway. I'm confused. Because there's like the robot chicken thing where they make that guy, the Dumbledore guy, being black or something. Johan has been a member for 10 months, says, we all got put in timeout for building towers last night. Well, you guys tried. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. Eric July clearly planted the drugs in the Ricada house. Yes, he did. Amateur Iconoclast says, Ricada Law, a small defunct law firm in central Minnesota. Royston Bailey says, will the Ricada body cams ever come out? At some point, probably. I don't know at this rate. But, you know, April, if you're out there, remember, $6,000. No will pay it to you. Just got to give him the body cams. Royston Bailey says the nose is stuffed with crack and crack cocaine. Here in Cuckburg. Booze and pills to numb the brain. In the cover. Let's keep it a mystery and rewrite history. Cocktails. Oh, hold on. I got to work that. I got to work this out better. I didn't see where we were doing to the tune of nose is stuffed with crack cocaine here in Cuckburg. Booze and pills to numb the brain in the cover. Let's keep it a mystery. Ba-ba-ba. And rewrite history. Cocktails. Woohoo. Oh, I should have read that silently first, but I try not to do that because I want to react originally to things. Thank you. Isaac Baruch's Wholesome Gabagool Art says the toe keeps on winning. Crackets is the Jesse Breaking Bad meme. Over and under in 5.5 canisters of Galaxy gas is Nick going to use tonight. I don't know how many he'll use. Scudex says, Carmela, shut the door! Garrett says, how does this work on Indian reservations? Could a guy move to the res and ignore parole and release conditions? No, because eventually you're going to, I mean, like on the res, they probably won't care. But eventually you're going to get caught. And at some point, if they really want to get you, they'll get you. But also, you can't just live on, like, especially if you're, you know, white man, you can't just live on the res and never leave the res. Like, you're going to need to leave the res at some point. And if you really want to confine yourself to a res for the rest of your life, that's like a prison unto itself. So would you really want to do that? Like, if you've ever been to a res, you'd be like, I don't want to live here forever. You wouldn't want to do that to yourself. One old guy's opinion says, visas are permissions from the U.S. government to enter the U.S. to go to school, work, or whatever. The permissions can be revoked. It is not a right. Correct. You are given the opportunity to do this. Corey Cass for 2 New Zealand dollary doodles. I don't know if they're dollary dues too in New Zealand. The Carl Jobst stream win. Yeah, it's Jobst, not Jobst or Jobst. It's Jobst. Well, actually, it's going to be helpful. We could do it this weekend because it helps. The farm started a Carl Jobs thread because he was like, they never made one about me. It's like, well, I got news for you, Carl. But yes, that'll be a plan. We could cover that. Debbie O says, Skoda said we have to get him El Salvador, not we bring him to the U.S. I say we send him to Venezuela or Haiti. No, he's got to be brought back to the U.S. Like, they have to effectuate it, but what does that mean? Debbie O says, cheers to tonight's goal. Well, thank you. Yes. Chat, we met tonight's goal, and tonight's goal was that if we met it, Trump is going to trade the IRL streamers for the Venezuelans. So that's what we're going to do. We'll get Vitaly back, but we're going to fuera everyone else to South Korea and the Philippines. That's the trade. Erica says, wait, I thought you liked her, Sean. Who? Who am I not liking? Yes, Marco Rubio said if you come to the U.S. and act like a retard, we're going to get your visa revoked. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Nero FL is saying that Russell Brand's prosecution is 99.999999999% political. Probably, but that's why you don't fuck up. That's why you don't put yourself in those positions where you have to worry about the government fucking you over. Odeker says, Sean! What's up? J-Rock says, Fred Rush did his part. Are you? Are you doing your part? One old guy's opinion says 8 USC 1201, the issuance of visas and the revocations of visas or documents. Yes, correct. Mm-hmm. Yep. But remember, chat, there is a difference. Once you get a green card and you're a permanent resident, you have different rights, and the different options exist. You have far more protection. But yes, just here on a regular visa, you are here at the leisure of the U.S. government. One old guy's opinion says Senator Manny Pacquiao. Yes, guys, the boxer Manny Pacquiao is a senator in the Filipino government. Is probably going to get pissed off. Yep, very true. Lone Star Medic for $20. Thank you. He says, Sean, great to see you and my favorite Foxu together. Remember, OPSEC is like a condom. Better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Yes. Also from Lone Star Medic, saying for $10, my Penelli brother and sisters are going to make him suffer. Yes. He's going to learn how to suffer in Tagalog, which is not like the easiest language in the world to learn if you have no idea any about it. One old guy's opinion says, hope he's not fooled with one of the organized baddies there. They won't play. Well, I mean, I'm sure he's going to fuck around in jail because he's not smart enough not to, sadly. What do you guys... Oh, Scudx saying, wait, I was on a stream with Kirsha yesterday. Yeah, we were doing the Brian Koberger stuff. She loves the Brian Koberger case. So we had a lot of fun talking about it. It's very weird, the angles his defense team is taking. And I don't know. I'd love to talk to Andrea Burkhardt or even like Emily Baker about it because I'm really confused. Like, there's so much they could challenge if they just left it in. I think it would score more points than just removing it from the trial. Michael Boyle has been a member for 12 months. Michael, thank you for the support. I truly appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah, they said it's 2 to 3 years detention before a trial. Yep. They ain't no rush. They ain't in no rush. So, suffer, Vitaly. Suffer. One old guy's opinion says, but here in the USA, visa holders have to act like fools. Yes. One old guy's opinions, again, thank you for the super chats, man. I appreciate it. It's saying visa waivers are used here, but they must be admitted into the USA. Yes. No immigration holder can tear up college campuses and not think they can't be sent home. Yeah, no, they're finding that out. They're finding that out. As they've been fucking around, they have been finding out. Coding Light saying, I think people have done too good of a job talking about how bad prisons are in the U.S. They aren't perfect, but they are better than most. I'm sure, comparatively speaking, they're better than a lot of places in the world. That doesn't mean that the U.S. prison system doesn't need reform and needs to be upgraded anyway. I mean, yes, being the best among everyone in the world doesn't mean much when everybody else is awful. The U.S. could do a lot to reform prisons and how things are done. Eliminating private prisons, for example. And the way prisoners are treated. I think that there are a lot of problems with that. That doesn't mean they have to, it's got to be like a prison in Norway where you get like Xbox and shit. But they can probably do things to increase the safety of them and things like that, because the prison doesn't need to be a death camp. You don't have to worry. You shouldn't have to worry for your safety in a prison. If we're going to force you to stay somewhere, we have obligations to protect and care for you. So. Let's see here. One old guy's opinions. Again, thank you. $5 saying, was his claim granted? If no, then the initial removal order will be enforced. Well, his asylum claim wasn't granted, but the judge put on an order saying you can't go back to El Salvador, which is not an asylum grant. So that's the thing here. He's not an asylee. Coding Light says, moving on to the Brock Horner thing, couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Yes, very true. Very, very true. Zicatnip. Sounds like something Jean-Francois Garpi would say. JF would say, but my cat, my feline cat, she likes to eat zicatnip. Says, yo, Sean, been watching for a long while, wanted to show support. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. The stream you did with Kirsha was very enjoyable. Well, thank you. And I appreciate your super chat for $20. Thank you. Thank you very much. Bushmaster 937 shows up and comes in with 5 more subs. Thank you, Bushmaster. I appreciate the support. Cacophony says, did we talk about the Colorado thing? Yeah, we did. There. One old guy's opinions for $20. Ooh, buddy. Thank you. Showing up strong tonight. The original immigration judge and the BIA found sufficient evidence such to render a danger to the public. Yeah, but those were kind of sketchy. I'm not really, regardless of him, like you could exclude the MS-13 stuff. He got here illegally and there was a deportation order. So that's good enough for me. The MS-13 stuff is kind of like icing on the cake. I'm just arguing like they're kind of shaky claims. Who knows? But I'm willing to pretend those claims don't exist and say, let's remove them. Can we still deport him? Yes. That's all I care about. He is deportable and a terrorist. Yes. The judge and the BIA could certify Abrego and abstentia and be returned to El Salvador. They could, but given how this is unfolded, that's probably what I would say for political expediency. You could do that, but it's going to be optically horrible, and you'll burn a lot of political capital to do it. Bring them back, say, okay, this is all retarded and bullshit, get the order removed, and send them back to El Salvador. That's actually probably the better political move to do that, I think, honestly. I get, yes, you could do a lot of things in an immigration court. And guys, remember, immigration courts, the rules are very different. They're very fast and loose. But I think they're better off bringing them back or trying to, or saying we tried. And then just say, look, it's not going to matter anyway. But if they can bring them back, and then deport them again. Like, you're great. You came back for a week. Have fun. Bye. Afuera again. I don't think that makes any sense to him. But hey, what they're going to do, they're going to do. Chugi Show says, drone, could have been a drone. The copter blocked the view of anyone seeing it. I mean, maybe, but that'd have been a big fucking drone to disintegrate the helicopter like that. So I don't know. Maybe. Could be. There are some big fucking drones out there. Squizgar says, obviously Trump's tariffs caused the helo to crash. Yes. That's exactly it. There was a guy who was going to work on the helicopter, but he got deported. The guy working on the helicopter is now in CCOT, so that's what happened. C says the lefties will lie either way. Who cares about acts? I'm not worried about them, but I think at this point, the Supreme Court has said you did this wrong. They should try to fix it. Because if we're trying to say the Supreme Court is a legitimate institution, you have to. You have to try. The Told Monkey says, did I talk about the tariffs tonight? No. I mean, right now it's kind of all over the place. Like there was a big rally yesterday, but also there was a downturn again today. So, like, where's the terrorist thing is going to be an ongoing situation, and honestly, guys, you can't panic. Like, if you have stuff, hold on to it. Like, you don't gain anything now by being paper handed. You're gonna have to hang in there as far as they do stuff. That'd be my only recommendation. I'm not giving you financial advice, but it's like, people made their money back. You just got to hang in. So who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what's going to happen? That helicopter in New York City was registered in Louisiana. Well, I think Bell helicopter is like out of Louisiana. I think it's out of Louisiana. Oh, it's out of Fort Worth, Texas. But I think for a long time the Bell Helicopter Bowl was down in Louisiana for some reason. I know, yeah, it's part of Textron now, but wasn't it at some point? I don't remember. I thought it was. Oh, here you go. There's a link to... Yeah, Louisiana has all the oil rigs and all that stuff for helicopters, yeah. So... Okay, so they were... A firm out of Louisiana was refurbishing and leasing the aircraft. Uh-oh. No, Lockheed didn't buy Bell. Textron did. So Textron is part of it. Okay, so it's registered company in Broussard. They show the Bell 206L. Okay, so it was a Long Ranger. -4. It's registered to Meridian Helicopters. They purchase, sell, and refurbish. They lease and broker helicopters. Yeah. Authorities say they broke apart midair. The pilot and 5 tourists, including 3 kids, were killed. Yeah, so we'll find out more as it goes on, but right now we don't have any more updates. So, yeah, Missouri says they all died. Yeah, dude, they hit the water. Like, helicopter airframes are not meant to survive crashes very well. And they hit the water at like 100 some miles an hour. That's like hitting concrete. So, yeah. Yeah, they aren't going to make it. It's like the people in D.C. I told you guys that night when it happened. Ain't nobody survived that. You don't survive crashes like that. This is a catastrophic failure of the airframe. So, nobody's making it out. Ain't no one making it out. So, yes, Julia, yes. They purchase and refurbish and sell conveyances. Oh my God. No, now I try to teach you guys the law and you're like all going sovereign citizen on me. That's great. So. All right. Well, that's it for us tonight, chat. We will get tomorrow we got some other stuff to cover. The arrest documents and the police reports for Carmelo Anthony. He's the kid in Texas. He stabbed up one of the kids at the track meet and killed him. That police report is out. There's actually a lot in there. And, the kid actually does some smart things. There's still some questions about it. And we're going to go through that tomorrow. We're going to take a look at it. Saturday night, we are going to go through Carl Jobst because there's so much to go through there. We've got it all set up. We're going to go through the judge's judgment against him. Like I said, spoiler alert, Carl loses because he's a tard. But that's what we're going to do. Tim Fool said it was self-defense. I mean, there can be arguments made for self-defense. Are they going to survive? Probably not. There's probably enough information out there that doesn't count and will basically negate self-defense. Or he's just an idiot and has imperfect self-defense, which Texas has, which means he's going to get manslaughter, which is like 20 years in prison. So at that point, he's probably going to be entitled to it because it sounds like he had a tampon attack and just slashed out at people because he don't take no shit from nobody, which sounds like a good idea in theory, but until you practice it, you end up in prison at 17. One old guy's opinions from what I read what you read, and nothing in there is sketchy with the Leo on the IJ and the BIA finding for his MS-13 membership. I don't necessarily just like all the informant stuff. They should have more documentation of him. They can actively document gang activity. There were some questions about, I think, which law enforcement organizations and how strong that information is. Because remember, the evidentiary threshold for immigration courts is very, very low. It's not like you wouldn't be able to get that kind of gang affiliation in a courtroom. And like if this is a felony trial, like he was on trial for gang, like if he's a member of a gang, that probably wouldn't be enough. They'd have to introduce more. So, but I appreciate you following along on this and commenting. I do appreciate it, and I thank you. So, guys, with that, we are all done here, and we will head over to locals. Once again, guys, potentiallycriminal.locals.com. Use the promo code WHIPIT. I think it's fixed now. Everything should be good to go. I know some of you had said there were problems with it, but I think they're all done now. I think I took care of it. If not, I'll try to fix it again. But I think everything is done there. And hold on here. Where is... All right, chat. So I'm going to switch over real quick. We need to get going because it's already 12:54. Damn, we went real long tonight. Still over 500 of you here, guys. Thank you so much. And remember, until next time, chat, just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. Unless you're an idiot and you start, basically committing piracy to settle a fight over fishing, which no bueno, no bueno. You're going to get a FOIA right to prison. So don't do that, chat. Don't be afraid to let things go. It's not a big deal. Whatever you think is a big deal probably isn't a big deal in reality. So just let it go. That said, chat, good night. Take care, and I will see you guys later.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some...
I did? Oops, sorry. Hold on here. What did I miss? Oh, one of the guys' opinion says, I'm an immigration officer, brother. Yes, you can. I will take your word for it then. I appreciate that. If you're an immigration officer, I will defer to that. If you've been there, done that, and got the t-shirt, I appreciate the input. And if you have any links to stuff, feel free to email it to me because I'd like to read up on it. Because I don't know a whole lot of immigration stuff. I don't do a lot of immigration work. By doing any, I've never really done any, but I've helped immigration attorneys deal with clients who have other cases pending. And I help them with the stuff over here, and then I work with the immigration attorney. So if you have any information, please feel free to email it to me. I'd love to read it. Thank you. Now we're all done.
Trains, much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty, but please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy that Kate yelled at? Why, yes, it was. He